What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Thursday night at the Dollar Box Live. You will notice something a little different tonight. I'm here, our buddy Stu's here, but we are missing Adam. Where could Adam be? Nobody knows. He's not over here. He's not over there. I don't know where he is. No, Adam had another engagement this evening. He's running a little bit late. He will be joining us in about 10 to 15 minutes. So he asked me to go ahead and get the show started for us this week. We know that you are all on a busy schedule, and we didn't want to keep you waiting tonight. So we thought we'd kick it off at a regular time and see if I can keep you busy for a while and keep you entertained until Adam gets here as our normal ringmaster, and he will take over when he gets here. So, big week since we last talked last week. We had some new releases. We had some big time sporting events. And we are one day closer to some more excitement. So let's count down some of these things that we had going on. So last Wednesday was Valentine's Day, of course. And shout out to Bo at the 1 Million Cubs Project for joining us last week, Wednesday. It was great having him on. The three of us had a pretty robust roundtable. I felt like all of you in the chat had a great time talking with everybody as well. We're all kind of regulars by now. Bo's got a show in the morning. Adam and I do our Wednesday night show. Adam puts out a lot of content. I know all of you watch as well. So it was fun to get us all together and talk through what we do and some of the challenges we face and things like that. So really, really exciting show. Really enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll do that some more. We'll get some more guests as we can source them. That can be a little challenging at times, but so anyway, last Wednesday, Valentine's Day, we didn't talk about it a whole lot on the show last week, but of course, 2024 Topps Baseball was released last Wednesday. The flagship product came out that Wednesday, so there was a lot of excitement, a lot of hustle and bustle to get those cases opened up, break those open, get them listed, and start shipping. And I know I took part in that as well. Sold a lot of baseball over the last few days and the weekend. Had a nice hit. If you had a chance to see that in my content out there, I hit on a nice Chipper Jones auto, numbered out of 25. It was an orange parallel of the 1988 Topps Baseball insert set. Really nice. Friend of the show actually bought that from me. So thank you very much. It's funny because the first couple of days, I was a big Chipper Jones fan too. So the first couple of days, I put my top shelf price on it. What I mean by top shelf is I price it out of buying the first couple of days. So I get the listing already. I know I'm going to eventually sell it. But those first couple of days, I put a really high price on it because I want to admire it on my shelf a little bit, think through the memories that I have of watching Braves baseball when all you could get was WGN or TBS, and you watched either the Cubs or the Braves on TV. So I held on to it for a couple days. I fielded a few offers. And then after that 2-day run of admiring it, I started to drop the price into a more reasonable range. And then eventually, a friend of the show actually made me an offer, and he had just bought another card from me. And I said, hey, I kind of set my floor on this card, and you're a little under that. But I know you just bought this GSP MMA card, GSP George St. Pierre. I said, for you, and knowing you're a friend of the show and you're a repeat buyer for me, I will go under my floor a little bit. And we agreed on a deal. So that was fun. So anyway, Topps Baseball, still a lot of excitement around that. I've got a little insert set that I've started collecting out of it just for fun. I think it's good to have a little collecting yet, especially when you start out as a collector like I did. But then Friday came along, and Friday, 2023 Topps Chrome Formula One came out. Of course, they're a little bit behind schedule, so 2023 Topps Chrome came out in February of 2024. So I went through that cycle again. I've become a pretty big F1 fan. And I'm excited for that new season kicking off. So I started ripping and flipping. I bought a hobby box of that as well. Hit on a decent serial numbered out of 5 red checkered flag parallel. I've moved that already. So all in all, I've pretty much broken even on my boxes, and now I have a lot of inserts and base cards left to sell in my store. That will be pure profit. So I know others talk about this as well. I think even though for the most part we talk about ripping boxes and ripping packs is not a good way to make money, I think there is a window that you can build off the excitement of a new release. And if you're timely enough, you can start doing some things to turn a profit, get some cool cards, and keep it moving. And then also we had the NBA All-Star Weekend last weekend. So we had like the slam dunk contest, 3-point shootout. That was pretty cool. If you saw it, Sabrina Ionescu against Steph Curry in a little exhibition. Steph pulled it out. But Sabrina Ionescu, actually, if she had competed in the men's 3-point shootout, she would have tied for first place in it. So that was fun. And then the All-Star game itself. Then we went into the week. We got started with this week, and pitchers and catchers are at camp. We've got spring training, getting in the swing of things. And then we had also Daytona. Daytona was scheduled to kick off the NASCAR season outright on Sunday. That got rained out. It moved to Monday. I did watch most of that when I got home from work. Of course, it's like the last 15 laps that I really watch, waiting for the big one, and it didn't disappoint. Big crash there in the last couple of laps. The race ended under a red flag, but it was exciting watching them racing 3 wide at 190 miles an hour, just maybe 2 feet from each other. But of course, somebody's going to get in a wreck, and nobody was hurt, so it was fun to watch. I said baseball is going on, and then F1, Formula One, actually kicked off their practice laps today in Bahrain, and they will have their first event this coming weekend. And their show on Netflix is coming out later this week as well. The next season of, I think it's called Drive to Survive, which is how I really got hooked on the whole F1 vibe, because I watched that series and you get to know the personalities and things like that. So it was a really busy week so far. We'll talk a little bit tonight, I'm sure, about my store and a new strategy that I applied today. I'll actually have some content of my own coming out tomorrow or the next day, somewhere in there. I started recording some of it, but that is around volume sales and multiple quantity sales. I feel like I've finally cracked the code on that. In just my first day of making some changes, the majority of my orders were multiple card sales today. And I've also doubled what would normally be a strong day of cards moving for me. I've doubled that number already today. And then I have some more offers out there that are pending that I have to look at as well. So really a good time for me. Lots of things going on. It's great to be here for a minute to talk about my Milwaukee Brewers too, without hearing any Cubs chatter squelling that. So excited for another season of Brewers baseball. Excited to see what Rhys Hoskins is going to do with his opportunity with the Brewers. See what Christian Yelich has left in the tank. See what kind of pitching staff we can put together now that we let go our number one and number twos in the offseason. So lots going on in the sports world, which typically equates to a pretty robust card market. Adam and I also went to a card show this past weekend. On Saturday, we went to a card show in Winneconne, Wisconsin, at a place called the Fin and Feather, if you're familiar. I think that was their first card show. I believe it was the owner's son that put this on. Pretty decent turnout. I want to say they had 50 or 60 tables. It was kind of one of those shows where I went in with a plan, but sometimes you run your plan during a card show, and sometimes the card show makes your plan for you. For me, this show was kind of the latter. The show really made the plan for me, because I went in there not looking for any baseball. And then I spent the first, couple hours getting nothing but baseball. It just happened to be what was available, what was a good price. I hit some 10-cent boxes with some Ohtanis and some nice inserts, some Jeters, some Ricky Henderson, some cards I hadn't seen before. So I started buying heavily in the baseball, and it's kind of a comfort zone for me too. Baseball cards are probably my strongest knowledge base, followed by football. So when I started hitting something that was in my sweet spot, I just rolled with it and stayed with it because, it was fun for me going through those boxes and seeing what I could find. The first table I hit, I actually went back to a second time and hit it again. Look at this guy coming in. He thinks he can just barge in the door, jump in here, right in the middle of a conversation. Look at, geez.
Well, it is my channel.
Well,
so I gotta get
Adam. Welcome, Adam. We didn't get to any chat yet. I was just chatting away while I had a chance to talk about the week that was in the sports world, and talked a little bit about we hit a card show this weekend, but
we sure did.
A high-level overview of what we've been doing.
Cool.
So good to see you. You made it home safely, and you're ready to join us.
Yeah.
Well, maybe technical difficulties at the dollar box. There he is. Oh, we lost him. I'll bet you he's going to reconnect in a second. So welcome everybody. Glad to see you're here. Let's hear you out in the chat. I see we got some people out there already. Let us know you're here. Let us know what you want to talk about tonight. As always, this show is highly interactive. We want to talk about what you want to talk about. We kind of bring in a little high level set of bullet points we're going to talk about to get started, but then we like to let you direct the show where we're going. Most of you are regulars. You know how it goes. You know how we talk about a little of everything, head down a rabbit goat hole. Hopefully we spit a little knowledge, some news, and then we always land on a little nonsense.
Definitely the nonsense. That's a
Definitely
must.
the nonsense.
That is a
Speaking of
must.
that, I took out the Holy Grail again tonight. The nice Smurf glass, probably from Pizza Hut or something like that.
Nice. Yeah, I don't remember where those were from, but yeah, I've got some Smurfs too. So
We got
hold on.
Brainy. Yeah, this is the Brainy feature, but it looks like we've also got Grumpy, Sleepy. I don't know, somebody else. I don't remember all my Smurfs.
Dopey.
Dopey. I think he is one of them. I don't know who the guy is. The guy with the hammer here. What did they call him? Hefty Smurf or something like that?
Hefty. Well, Hefty always carried around like a barbell or something.
Yeah, he was always working out, showing off the guns.
Right. Well, yo, YouTube, better late than never, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had some good friends of ours. Her father passed away, so we went to the wake and stuff tonight. So, unfortunately, it timed out with tonight, but of course, it was important that we were there. So I appreciate everybody sticking around here and joining us a half hour later and so forth. I started the show because I wanted to make sure we were on by 8:30, but Charlie was kind enough to sort of cover for me on that last 10-15 minute leg of drive. It was about 45 minutes away that we were at. So, but anyway, so let's get back to it. I know I watched in the car for a little while, so I heard you talking a little bit about the sports that came up, and 2024 Tops came out.
Mm-hmm.
We had Bo on the show last week, our card show. That we went to on Saturday in Winneconne. I thought it was a really good show. It was really cool to see a 16-year-old kid put on a card show.
Right.
He did a great job. We bought a bunch of cards from him. He had some good stuff in his value boxes, which was very encouraging, for a young man. I started out my first foray into any sort of business activity was when I was, 12 years old. I was buying tables at shows. It's funny how that stuff comes full circle. Now I sell cards for a living. But yeah, I thought it was a really good show, didn't you? I thought we picked up some good stuff. Place was nice.
Yeah, I did. I had to cut mine a little bit short. As you knew, I had some friends from the area that met me. We had planned to go out after the show, but they came a little early because they wanted to check out the show as well. But then it leads to conversation, and I don't expect people to know, like friends to know that, well, when I'm at a card show, I'm kind of working, right? I'm focused. I'm trying to get through everything. So I kept working through conversation for a while, and it's one of my best oldest friends and his wife, goes all the way back to high school. And as you can see, I'm ancient with all this gray hair here. So I was happy to see him there, but at a certain point, I'm like, I feel bad that as they're talking to me, I keep my head down in a box, and I'm like, all right, I need to stop and give him my full attention. So I didn't even hit the last row with tables on both sides of the row.
Yeah, they were. Thank you for sharing time with them. They're super nice people. It was kind of funny. She ended up being our waitress for the meal afterwards. But funny. They were funny. They were good spirits, and I think they were okay with it. They knew you were there for the show too. So, and it did bring them. They brought that place some good business, I think, too.
I think so.
So, what should we share with them? What our other big news of the week was?
Oh yeah, I did not talk about that at all. So if they haven't seen your content yet, they probably don't know.
They better have seen my content. I know Charlie doesn't watch, but I hope you guys do. So
says the guy who a week after something I put out there comes out, you're like, hey, I just got a notification.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, for your channel, I get your notifications like 3 days after you post them. It's really weird because I don't go dig through my subscriptions at all.
Yeah.
I wait for notifications and then I watch, stuff I want to watch. Obviously, like I know Bo is on every morning, the ones where it's consistent. I know it's there, but your stuff, it's not every day. So I didn't really know if it was out or not, but
yeah.
Anyway, so I finally got Charlie to kind of change his tune and agree to a scanner. Because because he was the one that was so against it, right? Not me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll tell you, and I kind of explained this in my video too. But to me, and we had talked about this for a while, haven't we? You know, doing a scanner and sharing a scanner. And as a matter of fact, it was something I had brought up, you know, a while ago, and you were kind of like, eh. And I wasn't too, you know, thrilled about spending the money on it and so forth. And I list pretty well with my phone. But you know, looking into it further, not only is the scanner a nice piece of equipment and can come in very handy, I really like what Car Dealer Pro did with its 2.0 release. That was a big game changer for me when I started looking at their new, you know, their reviews and the speed at which the AI identifies the cards and the accuracy and things like that and the improvement. NASCAR works on there now. Soccer works on there now, which I do a lot of soccer. Sounds like they're going to continue, you know, looking at adding more AI scrapes in as time goes on. And then for me, the other big kicker was the Shopify plugin. I plan to build a Shopify card store. I run a Shopify store now with something else. So I really think it was a good move for us. And what we decided to do was kind of split it, right? So we're gonna timeshare our scanner a bit, and we see each other enough, or we'll kind of pass it back and forth over the next, you know, every couple weeks, whatever it ends up being. I did up my subscription today. I didn't even tell you this yet, Charlie. To Car Dealer Pro, I went from the $10 which is 500 scans, which is really not very many. I bumped it up to the $20 plan, which gives you 1,100 scans. So you basically get twice as many plus 100 to do it that way. But I had enough stuff to scan, and I think, you know, if we each have it for a week or two at a time, I think you could easily scan 1,100 cards. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah. It's going very well. I did make a video kind of how I do it. I know there's a lot of different options to the software and the scanner. We didn't have the auto feeder, so I kind of came up with a method of sort of dropping the cards in so they wouldn't get misfed or stuck. Charlie was kind enough to take it at, you know, he's the one who purchased it, so he got it to his location first, and he was kind enough to kind of tweak some of the settings and get that all set up, and I think we've got that tuned in pretty well. Yeah. I did switch from the 600 DPI back down to the 300 DPI, and I'm going to keep it that way. It's faster. I feel like the scans are very clear, and I don't feel like you get as much of the extra graininess that the scanner tries to throw through it, increasing the DPI. So that's where I'm at with that. And then take a look at the Chrome settings. I sent you the actual settings screen today. I don't know if you saw that image.
Yeah, I did.
So I'm going to go in and you can create multiple profiles for the scanners. I'm going to try to create a profile for that, so I can just base Chrome. So not, you know, shinies, you know, this type of stuff, but just base Chromes. I'll tell you one thing that I found with the scanner though, with Chrome cards, when I send it through the scanner, it literally doesn't like the Chrome card itself. Like, I get error all the time.
Okay.
It says misfed, and you know, it's not like the paper cards. You can just, you know, they run right through it.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. Well, we might have to play with that a little bit. Maybe the auto feeder will work a little better with it. I don't know, but I'm a pretty big fan of the Car Dealer Pro. I think I've got it down pretty good. You know, as far as like my process and making sure I have everything in there correctly. I went back and looked at a lot of the cards. My SKUs are showing up fine. Pictures are fine. And this thing is not very big, so it's going to be easy for us to sort of portable it back and forth as we need to.
That was the biggest surprise for me, how compact it is. It's essentially maybe 3 times the size of the thermal printer.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, maybe a little bit smaller than 3 times even.
Yeah.
Once you have, like it's got all the stuff, right? So it's got the feed tray, it's got the
True.
pull-out tray. Once you sort of break it all down to just the machine without any of the pullouts, it's very compact.
Once once we have everything on it, I don't think it takes up more than the footprint of a monster box.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. And it'll be nice to have the bin. It'll be nice to have the feeder in the stands, just to sort of make that process a little bit smoother. I tried in my video to sort of point out how you don't have to have those things, in order for it to function pretty well for you. But yeah, I think going forward, it's going to be a good thing. I think 1,100 scans a month is going to be more than enough for me.
Okay.
And I don't foresee, because I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, well, maybe eventually we'd need to get our own, scanner. But honestly, most of my stuff is not paper. I'm not super, super low end. I'm not buying pallets of, 1 cent base cards. That's not really what our business model is.
Yeah.
I'm more going through the boxes and I'm buying the shiny and the, so it's less than half of the stuff I would buy would even be able to run through a scanner.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at it like, all right, well, if, let's say there's 4 weeks in the month and you have the scanner 2 weeks, I got the scanner 2 weeks, my other 2 weeks is going to be spent just with my phone listing this stuff.
Shiny stuff.
Yeah, the shiny stuff. So I don't want to buy in too hard to the Card Dealer Pro uploads and then just be uploading a bunch of stuff that's not going to sell either. So it'll be interesting. But I had I have built a pretty good customer base on eBay, but I had a bunch of customers who came in. I did a whole box of vintage, like 800 vintage cards in like an hour and a half. It was crazy fast. And I had a bunch of buyers as soon as I was, scanning them and uploading them, boom, they were buying them in chunks. So a bunch of 1969 tops, some 1974 tops, like just stuff. I thought they were all commons, which Card Dealer Pro kind of saved my butt. I showed you this today, Charlie, but I had a Drew Pearson rookie card, from 1974 tops, 1974, 76, 75. I don't know. It was in one of those years there. I wasn't aware it was a rookie card, but when I scanned it through and I did my, my price research right in Card Dealer Pro, they had been selling for $25-$30. I'm like, why the heck is this? Drew Pearson is a Hall of Famer, wide receiver. He's a very talented player. But sure enough, it was a rookie card, so I threw mine in at $29.99, and I sold it already. Nice. 2 days later, I probably would have priced that card at like $4 or $5, not knowing it was a rookie. So, I think just like comping and things like that, you can do that right in Card Dealer Pro, which makes it pretty handy. So, and this isn't an advertisement for Rico scanners. This isn't an advertisement for Card Dealer Pro. I just kind of wanted to come in and reiterate, how we're evolving to this, and I feel like the technology and the software is at a point where it really makes it viable to use.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting to get started with it and see, what we can do with it, because we're still in different business models, different phases of our business. So we will both be having kind of different applications for it.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how we change over time, and what we do similarly, what we continue to do differently. So I'm excited to try it out and get a couple months under our belts with it. The 2 nights I had it, first night was pretty much busy setting up everything and dialing in my settings. But once I got it down, I was really pleased with what I was able to put through it. So,
yeah. It only really, learning curve is different for everyone, obviously. How fast you can pick stuff up if you're comfortable with software. You were kind enough to kind of bring it over and go through it a little bit with me and, help me get some settings down and things. And then I downloaded Card Dealer Pro so you can kind of see what that looked like. live, and I ran a couple of batches, and honestly, it's been boom, 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 easy ever since.
Yeah.
Especially if I would very much promote this if you're doing vintage, because there's no parallels. There's no a lot of the modern stuff I scan in, like Chronicles, right? Chronicles has a pink parallel where it's just the foil is pink and a green, and then you can scan in 10 different copies of silver Chronicles cards, and some will show up as a pink, some will show up as a green.
Yeah.
It takes that little tweak of whatever color ends up through that scanned photo, and Card Dealer Pro thinks it's some kind of parallel. So I actually had to spend a lot more time on the modern ones going through. Now there is an attributes field, right in Card Dealer Pro, and I would go through that, and it would say like, pink, and I'd be like, nope, that's not a pink, and just delete that. So once I scanned all the cards in and I had them in Card Dealer Pro, I literally took the stack of cards and I went one by one on the spreadsheet to make sure, like, okay, this is a pink, or this is not a chrome, this is a top space or whatever, to try to get them as accurately as possible. Because you don't want to upload it as some kind of parallel, and it's not a parallel, of course.
Right.
Consequently, the other way around, you don't want to upload it as a base, and it is a parallel, or it's numbered, or I had a bunch of them, like the press proof ones. It would come up as like press proof blue. Well, it's actually the silver one, which is serial numbered. Well, that's a big difference, So you have to kind of. Now, the good news is when you go into that attributes field, and let's say it says, green, right? It's a green parallel, but it's actually the silver and it's serial numbered. You can literally click on that box and it'll give you the list of all the different parallels for that card. So you just kind of go down the list and you go, oh, yep, there's silver out of 399. You click on that and it adds that to your title. So not only does it put it in like your parallel fields, and all that stuff in your descriptive fields, it also changes that title and adds that, silver press proof out of 399 or whatever.
Right.
So it's not like it's an extensive amount of time, but I would certainly not just scan a stack of modern cards and say, yep, these are good, and upload them. You do have to kind of go through it. I like my strategy of doing the 50 cards or just under 50 cards. They fit in the bag perfect, which goes with the inventory. And I think a list of 50 cards is very manageable. It's easy to count the scans. It goes fast enough. It uploads quick. It's easy to go through 50 cards on a spreadsheet without getting too lost in it. And you upload it, and then that batch is all done. So, yeah, I've had a pretty darn good experience with it so far. Now, I don't foresee a future where the scanner is going to be able to do shiny cards. So if you think you're just going to get a scanner and that's going to be the end of it, I would, unless you're only going to ever carry paper cards, I would plan to still have another way to list cards.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, should we get to the chat?
Well, before
or do you have something?
Let me throw this out there because I have kind of a unique experience happening tonight. I have a buyer who bought a card from me earlier tonight and then proceeded to go through my store and is now up to like 43 offers he's sent me.
Sure.
Is that common for you, or is that kind of watch out?
Nope, I get that all the time.
Really?
Yep.
So, it's interesting because I'll have to do the math to see where it's at, because I also have a quantity coupon in my store that will get him like 30% off. So I wonder how much more he's asking off for here.
If you do it by offers, they don't get the quantity discount.
What do you mean?
So if he sent you offers, or you sent?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, why not just put them in your cart, put in the coupon code, and get your 30% off, unless all of his offers are going to be more like 50% off.
Yeah, and that might be the case. But you have to remember, not everybody looks at the coupon codes.
True.
So I would not. I get that all the time. I have people who buy 15 cards and don't even use the code. Like, why would you pay full price?
Yeah, I had people buying 3-4 cards today and not using the. Oh, I think I have my coupon set at 4 cards, but they bought 4 and they didn't use it. So.
Right. So that's just the nature of the beast with shopping. You put the coupon code out there to try to entice, buyers that are going to buy multiple cards, but yeah, not everybody's going to use it. Or they go to the checkout and they forget to put the code in. Anything is possible, but yeah, there's a lot of times where I'll wake up and I'll have 20 or 30, offers from one person. Overnight, it seems to happen more for me than during the day, but yeah. I'll get 70 or 80 card orders. One thing that's interesting, and you'll find this out if you start getting, more multi-card orders, but you can only check out 40 cards at a time.
Really?
So, yeah. So somebody might have, let's say they have 70 cards in their cart from your store. Mm-hmm. You'll get two payments because they can only pay, they can check out 40 and pay for those, and then they'll check out the other 30.
What I'm finding as I start to get more multi-card sales is it's kind of hit and miss it on whether or not they let me invoice them before they pay anyway.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times if they're just paying, if they're going to pay with just the coupon, you won't need to invoice them. They're literally just going to check out and pay for it, and they have to pay for them all together to get the coupon. So that's the other nice part of it too. You don't have to worry about, oh Jesus, they paid for each one of these individually, and I got whacked the 30 cents on each transaction. It should help prevent some of that as well. I always look at stuff like that as it's going to save you money or make you more money, however you want to view it. It's good to give some of that back to the customer. So that's how I see that kind of a deal. They can save some money. I can make a little bit more money. It's less to ship, less shipping materials, all those good things. And, it really benefits everybody that way. And you can move a bunch of cards at one time, which, I'll tell you this, Charlie, it used to be just a ton of single envelopes that I was mailing out every day. Now it's a lot more of the doubles and paddeds. I'm glad I was stocking up on those free padded envelopes forever, because I probably have 6 or 8 packages a day that go in bubble mailers now, because there's just enough cards that I can't envelope them. So and the appetite for cards right now is the amount of orders I'm getting is insane. So.
Yeah, I definitely found myself tonight saying, I think I'm going to need to invest in more number 10 envelopes as I get more multi-card orders. And my next...
Buzz me later and remind me. I'll send you a link where I order my 10s from. Because I'm getting them like just over a penny. I can actually get them cheaper than the number 6 envelopes.
Yeah.
You have to buy a pretty good quantity. I think it's 500 at a time, but as you know, that's fine. That you'll get through them for sure. So, but yeah, and then just keep using your coupon for your free paddeds, and
exactly,
you should be able to fill pretty much any order. So that's what's nice about those padded orders. Yeah, you have to up your shipping service, but your supply is free.
Yeah.
It's actually cheaper for me for a padded envelope than it is for a number 6 envelope, because I don't pay anything for them. So. It's a good problem to be in the middle of, I guess.
Well, we're 38 minutes in, 39 minutes in. I think you were about to go into the chat before. We probably should do that.
All right, let's go for it. So we got our first entry into the chat tonight was DGen Terp, most anticipated card and goat show of the week. Evening, all. I don't know how many. Are there a lot of other card and goat shows? I don't know.
You'd be surprised.
Somebody's copying this, I think. All right. Matt is here. Good evening. Good evening, Matt. Thanks for joining us. Weston is here. Hello, Weston. Lofi Joe. Evening. To you as well. That was a great chipper auto you pulled, Charlie.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was very jealous. So yeah, you get a Chipper auto and Charlie gets a Ichiro auto, like two of my idols. I'm like, what is going on? If I'd have bought a box,
yeah.
if I'd have bought a box, I'd get like, I don't know, some random brewer or something, you know?
In fairness,
something nobody wants.
In my F1 hobby box, my auto was an F2 driver that I had no idea who they were.
Yeah, there you go. I would have got like Teddy Higuera or Rob Deere.
And there would be nothing wrong with that.
I know I could trade it to.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Weston says he got to meet Bo this weekend. Looking forward to meeting you and Adam sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to probably plan something maybe late spring or late summer. Middle summer's tough because we got the national, but we'll plan a trip. I shouldn't say probably. We will plan a trip to get down to the Madison show, which I think is about where you are, Weston. So we'll let everybody know when that's coming up, and hopefully we can meet some more of you. That would be great. Or at the national, consequently, too, if you're going there. If you ever head up this way, we have some great shows in Green Bay, Appleton. This area, this Northeast Wisconsin area. So let us know if you're coming up. We'd be happy to say hi.
Actually, the more we do this show, the more I realize how lucky we are for the card shows we have. So many of our viewers talk about not having card shows near them, and I don't know anything else. So as I got started, all these shows were around us. I just thought that was like that everywhere.
And that's why, I really wanted to make that point last week when we had Bo on, because I think all of us sort of forget that. And I said, well, not everybody can get to a show. I think buying at shows is the best way to do this, to buy and resell, just because you can cherry pick. But yeah, if you don't have access to shows, there are still ways, to be a reseller, but you have to be a little bit more resourceful. There's a lot of online resources you can use. But yeah, if you can get out to some card shows, it's good. It helps support your local community. You go dig some cards. You have a nice lunch afterwards. You meet some friends. In our case, we meet some viewers and dealers that we deal with regularly. It's good. It's. I think this is a great online community. I think it's a great online business. But I also think there's a lot to be said for having some of your local community built around it. So we try to do a couple shows a year, set up at some shows. We don't even really make money at our shows. I make a little bit each time, but we do it mainly just to meet people and, get some cards out on the table and some business cards and build some community, local community. MD says Woody is back for 2 years. I'm assuming that's a brewer.
That would be Brandon Woodruff. Is that true? I had not heard that. I've been so busy the last few days, I haven't watched the news or read the headlines or anything.
Yeah,
Max, is that absolutely true, or are you just messing with me?
I mean, I'm guessing if he says he's back, I guess he could be messing with you too. But I don't know anything about these guys, so I don't really follow baseball or the Brewers too much. But yeah, Weston says basketball is his weak spot. Always got to look up comps when I end up with them in lots. About to start just running all basketball cards on auction when I end up with them. Good strategy, you think? Yes and no. You're going to end up making less money if you run everything on auction.
Yeah.
It could be a quicker flip though, so maybe you can put that money into some cards that you do know or like or want to sell more. I think there's easy ways to comp, way more so than there was when I was started doing some of this. Like I said, Card Dealer Pro will help you comp. You just hit pricing history and it'll tell you, low, high, and even sort of give you like the median, like what you should charge. When you list if you list on your app on, I'm guessing the desktop does this too. I don't use the desktop eBay at all, but on the app eBay, when you go in and you go to the pricing model, it takes a couple seconds sometimes to load, but it should load a price, like a suggested selling price. You kind of use that as a comp. And then just as you do it more and more, you just kind of get a natural feel for what you can charge for things.
Yep.
and what things will sell for. Also, and this is the way I do it, and I think Charlie's kind of on the same model as me. I price a little high, and I do that because I want that. First of all, some people will just buy it, which is awesome, and then second of all, it gives you some leeway, right? To send some coupon discounts, to take some offers, things like that. So when in doubt, just price it a little bit higher and see how it does. You can always drop the price. If you send it if you put it on a 99-cent auction and it sells for 99 cents, that's it. There's nothing you can really do about it.
Yep.
That's kind of my suggestion in areas you're weak in. Everybody's going to be weak in some areas. You cannot know all the card markets. It's impossible. I'm weak on Pokemon. I'm weak on hockey. And when I have cards of those types of things, I have to look those up. Yep. But I can sit with a stack of football, for the most part, basketball, a good chunk of baseball, especially my Hall of Famers that I like to sell. Soccer, I can sit through those and pretty much just price them on my own. And then, when you get to the few that you don't really know, you're probably going to have to comp some stuff. There's really not much way, especially if you feel like it's going to be something that's going to be more, right? An auto or a lower serial numbered card or something like that. You're probably going to want to comp it anyway. You don't want to leave too much money on the table for sure. You kind of along the same lines with that one?
I am. And it caught my attention, his comment about auction. So we talked a little bit about that last week, and I still have some things out there that I have on auction. I do use the auction sometime as a learning tool.
This is a follow-up question for you about auctions.
Oh, yeah. So I've been using it lately on some things that I'm not so sure about the market on. So for me particularly, I'm using it more for items that are not in perfect condition to get a better feel for what people are interested in yet and what they're willing to pay when things are creased or have a little ink spot on it or something like that. Now, I don't do it with everything. Certain things I know there's still a decent market, like, 1977 Star Wars, if it's got a little pinhole in it because someone put it on their cork board, but it is a Boba Fett, I'm still going to list it with a buy it now. I'm just going to drop that price a little bit from a near mint, and I'm going to list it as excellent or very good, depending on the condition. But there are other things, like recently I talked about listing a bunch of miscut Bowman Platinums. I couldn't put my finger on that market, put it out there for auction, see what happens. Today I sold a Precious Moments card. It was creased, and I'm like, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these cards that are in good condition. So I definitely don't know what I'm going to do with this one with the crease. It sold pretty quickly at auction. Didn't sell for much, but it went quickly, which tells me there is a market. I just need to figure out the right price points now. I like the auctions for a research tool. And then I think if sometimes another application that might work is if you're a little concerned that maybe your pricing is out of whack on something, like, gosh, maybe you've got a little emotional piece of baggage in your pricing and you're a little high for the market because they mean something to you and you've had it out there for a while and you're like, I'm surprised I'm not getting any bites on this. Maybe an auction is the way to go for a pretty good item that you have that you may be overpriced on, because then you'll find out what the market will actually pay on it.
Yeah, I think auctions are better for cards that don't have a lot of competition, right? So, you have a 101 you want to sell or something like that. Well, you can't really comp it, and
right.
There should be if it's a good card, good player, whatever. There should be competition in an auction because you literally have the only card.
Yeah.
Versus, okay, well, I put this at buy it now. I don't really know what to put it at. It's the only copy. Yeah, you're taking a shot at in the dark of, you don't know. You don't know. There is no market, right? You're creating a market in that instance. So I think it's going to depend a little bit on a card. I wouldn't just say, "Oh, I don't understand the sport. I'm throwing these all on auction." I wouldn't do that. But I get where Charlie's coming from. It is a good way to sort of feel it out, and it helps if you have a little bit of a base price, right? So you got this card, you paid $1 for it. You don't want to accept anything less than 10. Well, then start your auction at $10.
Yeah.
So at least you have that. If it doesn't sell, great. You're not out anything. Just used one of your free auctions for the month. That's it. But you didn't start it at 99 cents. Nobody got a hold of it and decided to bid on it. And now, it got one bid at 99 cents. And you're like, man, I should have at least got $10 for that card. That's the danger in the auction. The point of auctions is to move stuff quickly. To me,
Yeah.
that I feel like that's really the point. Used to be that was how you would bid and buy stuff. But most buyers now will just go and buy the cards they want. They're not going to bother with the bidding, unless, like I said, you've got something really rare that doesn't pop up, and it has an increased, competition between buyers. Then the auction format will potentially get you more money.
Yeah, that's a great point too, and something that I considered just this week. So one of my best hits out of that F1 box was a red checkered flag parallel out of 20 or out of 5. I think it was number 3 out of 5. There were no other comps for it yet in the current year, and it wasn't like a portrait card of a driver that is the most desirable. It was the driver in his car on the track. So you can't even see the driver. It's just the car, basically. So I wasn't quite sure what that market would be. I even looked at last year's comps on some similar cards, and things just didn't feel right. And I started to think about, I know the F1 market is willing to spend some money for the right thing. I just don't know what that price point is. And I spent a few hours one day thinking about, if it doesn't sell by tonight, do I put it out on auction? Now, I ended up getting an offer that I was happy with, and I took it. So I never hit the auction. But that was my thought process, is that I'm not really seeing what I thought I would see in offers. So maybe I'm off on my pricing on this, and I can't find a really good comp. I'm going to have to let the market decide for me in an auction.
Sometimes it just takes a while to find a buyer too, right? So I had a bunch of 1990 Topps baseball, probably one of the most overprinted sets of all time. Cool looking set. I like the design of it. And I had just a bunch of it from when I was a kid, even packs I ripped and stuff like that. So I had some Jose Canseco and Roberto Alomar, and just some of those, I'd call them semi-stars at this point. Non-Hall of Famers. Well, maybe Roberto Alomar's in the Hall of Fame. I don't know, but
I think he is, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so names that are known, so wasn't total just commons or anything, but I had some of those cards listed for probably over a year and didn't really sell any. Well, I sold a Bo Jackson, right, and that kind of kicked it off. Then I had somebody come in and buy a Mark McGwire and a Jose Canseco, and it was like I sold all these 1990 Topps cards within a week, and I probably had them, the 20 of them listed for the past year. So sometimes you just kind of got to let the cards hang out a little bit. Price them a tad high, but still fair. And you'll get a buyer trip into your store at some point, and they'll go. So you got to have a little bit of patience with it. Unless you need to sell now, to get that quick buck, then the auction would be your right place for that. But if it's stuff you can just stock and you got some room to let it sit around for a little bit, let it do that. You'll get more. I would not get $1.99 for a Jose Canseco 1990 Topps card on auction. There's no way.
Yeah.
But I got that plus a couple Mark McGwires. It was a multi-card sale. So not only did it go for $1.99, which was more than I would have gotten on auction, but I didn't have all the expenses with it because I was able to ship it with some other cards. So that's part of it too. When you sell something on auction, you might only sell that one card. Now you got to pay the transaction fee. You got the back end, commission, or what do they call that? The eBay. Can't remember what it's called now. When they charge you on the back end after it sells.
There's the fixed fee and there's the
yeah,
fee.
Final value fee. Thank you. You know, you have to pay all that on that one card. I mean, you might not even come out with enough to cover your costs. So
Yeah.
yeah, auctions can be tricky that way. Bill is here. Hey, hey, hey. Yo, yo, yo. Keith All is here. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us, Keith.
Keith All. I know Keith All.
That's your guy that sent you that message, right? Because I think you had forwarded that to me.
Yeah, Keith,
yeah. He's your buyer, isn't he?
Keith is a lifetime Braves fan and a big fan of Chipper Jones.
Right on.
And on its way to him right now is an autographed Chipper Jones. So I
nice.
hope you are as excited about that as I was when I pulled it. It's an awesome card.
Very jealous.
Yeah.
Chipper was the man. I had a sale from a viewer this week too on eBay and got a nice message from. I sent it to you, Charlie. Got a nice message from him. I try not to share too many of that because I still feel like it's a personal message. So I don't throw it out on like my YouTube posts or anything like that. I feel comfortable talking about it in live, but it's nice. You know, hey, enjoy the show. You know, I saw some of your pickups and there were a couple cards out of it I wanted, and that's awesome. I'd love to, you know, have customers who are also viewers. I think that's fun.
Yeah, I thought it was important to share it with you because he mentioned, you know, the show and watching both of our content, and we certainly appreciate that, Keith. And we'll do our best to keep putting things out there that are interesting for you and help you with your hobby and collecting. I know you've got a nice PC there, so hopefully we can give you some stuff that you can use.
And speaking of that, if you are enjoying this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It helps us out. Allows us to keep making some videos for you guys. We love doing it. You know, share the videos to others if you think somebody else would enjoy watching it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Charlie's channel as well. JC3 Cards. Is it Cards and Collectibles or is it just
Cards and Collectibles? Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I can see on your banner on the back. JC3 Cards and Collectibles. That was funny last week when I asked Bo to promote, and he's like, "I don't know what the name of my channel is." I was like, "Man, you're like, you know, the godfather of doing all this stuff." But yeah, it made me chuckle. But anyway, yeah, make sure you subscribe, like, ring the bell if you want to be notified 6 days later after I post a video, right, Charlie?
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody asked me the other day, I can't remember where I had heard that from. I think it was just a message from a customer that I was talking to on Facebook, but he had asked if the GOAT was going to have his own channel. And I said, well, I don't know what kind of videos Stuart would make if there would be any kind of desire for that or not. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you watched my
I think he just enjoys his cameos, you know. He likes
my sales video this past weekend. I talked about that actually because we have a new member of the JC family, JC3 family. This is Fink. The dumpster actually says this is fine and it's on fire. That's how I feel at work most of the time. That's where I got this. Someone gave this to me at work because that was my life at a time. I helped a company that made dumpsters.
Oh, fun.
And it was always a hot mess. But my son came down and said, "Who's that? Who's Fink?" Because he thought the E was a C. So I'm like,
it does kind of look like a C. I mean, I'm looking at it, you know.
But now I feel like I can build this playhouse with Stu and Fink.
And when Stu is bad, we'll put him in the on fire dumpster, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how that goes. All right, let's see. John Larson says Adam who? Exactly. AKA Cooter, right?
Cooter. Where is
Adam Cooter?
Find Urethra.
Yeah, I don't know. She's been missing. She's always such a great addition to the show. So hopefully she comes back at some point. Adam, I don't think you've given us the story behind the name you have. So that ironically enough, it was the person we were just talking about, Urethra Franklin, who was one of our avid viewers since we started the show. She gave me that nickname because Cooter is the character from Dukes of Hazzard that I kind of reminded her of. and we were talking about not being called by our regular names and so forth. And so she named me Cooter, and then that just is the thing. So yeah, so that's where it came from. A Cooter from the Dukes of Hazzard show, which was an awesome show, by the way. Weston says, very sorry for your loss, Adam. Thank you so much. It really wasn't my loss. I was there to support a friend who had a big loss. Very good friends of ours that we've known for a lot of years. And just wanted to make sure that, we could kind of help them out. So it was nice. I actually haven't seen them in a few weeks, probably since December. So it was just good to see them again and just, kind of chat and help them get through it. If you've ever lost a parent or, somebody that close to you, it can be tough. It takes a little while to get a new normal, right? Because it's somebody that you talk to so regularly, you've always had in your life, especially a parent. I mean, they were there from day one, right? So anyway, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I was sad that I couldn't start the show on time, but I was happy that I was able to be there for them and still be able to join all of you tonight and have our experience that we enjoy. So I appreciate everybody hanging out a half hour longer tonight, or at least starting a half hour later. We'll see how long we go. I don't know. Space 99 Yak has joined us. Just started my store, and the eBay shipping give you option of $1.12 shipping. How do you get it to 64-cent shipping? When you sell a $1.99 car with free shipping, average around 25 cents profit.
How about the weight?
Do you want to take this one, Charlie? You know the answer, right?
Yeah, it defaults the first time to 3 ounces, and you've got to change that down to 1. So $1.12 is what you'll pay for a 3-ounce eBay standard envelope mailing. But one card is going to be well under an ounce, so you need to adjust that, and it should stay there for you once you adjust it, unless you're copying somebody else's listing.
Correct.
So then once you get it set on 1 ounce and you start copying your own listings, it'll stay at 1 ounce for you, and it'll give you the 64 cents.
Yep. The shipping has to go by weight. So Charlie's right. Make sure your envelope dimensions are on there correctly, and then the weight is set at 1 ounce. You should be able to ship 5 to 6 cards, depending on what cards they are, for 1 ounce in a 1 ounce envelope. So, all right. Jamie Croft has joined us. Good evening, fellas. Good evening. Thank you for not calling us gentlemen. We appreciate that.
That's right. Appreciate that.
Troy, of course, is here. Good evening, Troy. Thanks for being here again. Let's see. Adam, you can buy a la carte scans too if you want to keep the $10 membership. Just a thought. But I think it's more per scan, right? If you buy it. Huh?
You would think so.
Yeah, I thought it was like, I can't remember exactly how much it was, but it was enough where it just made sense to. I can't imagine I'll have less than 1,100 cards a month. That's, to be honest with you, that's not that many cards. And I buy vintage lots, which you can scan essentially every vintage card is scannable. You don't have chrome or shiny or any of that. So I'll buy a lot of, 500 or 600 vintage cards, probably a month or maybe twice a month. So that alone will get me through like half those scans. And then if I pick up any paper or anything at any of the shows, I like dime boxes. So you're going to get a lot of paper cards in dime boxes. Baseball has a ton of just paper products with no foil on them or no shiny. You got a lot of the Topps products. You got Chronicles product. There's a bunch of them where it's, because even if it has like a slight foil to it, like a silver foil, you can still scan those. Those show up okay. It's the total. It's the straight up chromium cards that are really the problem. So I'm going from
lots of stuff that's just paper. I'm just kind of looking over my box here, and I'm like, that NWSL stuff, soccer.
Parkside
paper. That's not a problem.
And I buy a lot of Match Attacks, which those have foil inserts, but all the base cards are just paper. I buy NFL 5 every year. I buy a clearance case of that. That's the football game product, card game product. those are all scannable. Those have foil parallels and stuff too, but all the base doesn't have anything on it. So I have enough stuff that, you know, 1,100 a month is really not going to be much. Well, anything older, tops, older, you know, score, that kind of stuff. Those are all, I love 90s products. I mean, I love the shiny, of course, but there's plenty of non-shiny
The
that,
shiny.
yeah, I mean, who doesn't like shiny?
Scanner headlights. Shiny.
Yeah.
Shiny. Shiny.
And that's my point, was my point earlier with the scanner. There's no way you'd be able to just have a scanner and list everything with a scanner. I don't see that ever being, to correctly be able to scan and list stuff. I don't think that would ever really be feasible. NN21 has joined us. Thank you for being here tonight. My Epson 400 is starting to show white lines on one side of the penny sleeve. Any advice? I've cleaned the wheels multiple times. Well, we almost had this problem. So when I first got the scanner here, I started doing, let me see, I think I have a couple of them here. I started doing big league cards, right? Topps Big League. And it was putting like these white lines on our rollers, which of course, consequently, when I was trying to scan black cards, then we were seeing like a couple of streak lines. Granted, that was also at 600 DPI. So I think it was by the fact that it was feeding it through slower might have been part of the cause of that, Charlie. I don't know. I don't know that for sure, but then I switched it back to 300 DPI, and I haven't had any problems since. I haven't had any lines or anything. So, but yeah, you should have. I have them right here. You should have like some wipes and a microfiber cloth, and I think every couple thousand cards you scan, you're gonna want to give it a good wipe down and just make sure you get any kind of residue or printing ink or whatever off of the rollers, so that you're not seeing that in your scans.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the Epson 400. I don't know how good a quality or high scale that scanner is, but maybe that's not holding up to a massive amount of scans. If you're scanning a lot of cards in, you might want to review that scanner again and see if that's the right product for that purpose. We just went right for the home run, and we got the FI 8170. It's by far the best card scanner on the market. It does cost a good chunk more. Fortunately, we were able to kind of split it, and that helps. But I think, if it's something you're going to continue to try to do, scan a lot of bulk, it's a good investment to make sure you have a quality scanner. I'm not poo-pooing the Epson 400. Like I said, I don't really know much about it. But it could just be the scanner only scans so many, and then you start having problems with it.
Yeah.
So I know Bo has had the F1 8170 for almost 2 years now, or FI 8170. F1. Listen to me. You got me thinking about the cars. FI 8170. I know he's had it for pretty much since it came out, and he's had no problems with it even to this point. So that was the other thing that kind of sold me. I was like, okay, I'm pretty confident now that this thing can handle a pretty good size workload.
The other thing NN21 says here is that it was a line on the penny sleeve, and we really have not explored scanning in a sleeve or in a top loader, even though this scanner is rated for it.
I don't foresee when I take my photos of cards, I do them raw as well. I don't foresee ever scanning
raw dogging it.
Raw dogs.
I did try to feed one penny sleeve through, and I had some issues with it, but I also did not. Full disclosure, I'm that man that doesn't read the instructions, so I don't know if I was supposed to do anything differently for it. I was just like, oh, let's do an experiment, Bill Nye the Science Guy. Let's see if this goes through. And it bunched up the sleeve a little bit.
I guess I don't understand why you would need to scan it in a penny sleeve. Like, just scan it raw. It's not going to... It doesn't do anything to the card. Literally, all the rollers do is move the card along. They don't pinch it. They don't, it's not going to do anything to damage your card. I scanned over 1,000 cards in already. I haven't seen a line or a damage. And a lot of the ones I'm doing are vintage. Those are the easier ones to bend or, see something on, and it hasn't done anything like that. So
I think there's two schools of thought on that, Adam. One is there's probably some that worry about damage to a card if it's raw, and I agree with you on that. But I think the other school of thought is probably if these cards are already sleeved, I don't want to take the time to take it out of the sleeve, and I don't want to take the time to put it back in the sleeve later. So can I just feed it through as is?
So it's funny you bring that up because that's actually been good for me because I de-sleeve them, I scan them all, and then I put them in the because I bag them. They're nice and safe in the bag. I just bag them raw.
Yeah.
I have a stack of literally of used sleeves, big old stack of them that I just have set off to the side, and then I just sleeve the cards when they sell.
Yep.
Takes up less room in your drawer. They fit in the bag real nice. That way they're easy to kind of get through, when you open the bag and you're looking for the card to ship. So to each his own, if you want to store them sleeved, you don't want to take it out of the sleeve, whatever the case may be, then try to scan it sleeved, I guess. I feel like the whole point of the scanning is to get as much of the card detail as possible, and I think that the sleeve could just obscure some things too. You could still get some shine off of it, or you could see the plastic, or something. I don't know. What if you don't have like a totally clear sleeve? I have a lot of sleeves on cards sometimes that have like a little mark on them, or a little pull, or something like that. I mean, you could see that in the scan. It's not really the correct representation of what the card looks like, I guess. So, but yeah, otherwise, work on the machine, see if you can get it to work. Try to scan them raw. If you can't get the lines to go away, scan it raw and see what it looks like.
The other funny thing about that line that we even experienced, which keeps me awake at night because I have to have closure to issues, is it came in randomly and it left just as randomly, and we have no explanation of why it was there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and I've scanned a bunch of batches since, and I've had no issues. So, and I was scanning. I don't know how familiar you are with this set, but I was scanning a lot of 1969 Topps football, and those have an all black back.
Yeah.
So that, if you're gonna see it, you would see it on those, and I haven't seen lines on any of it. So I'm a little different than you, Charlie. When something goes away, I'm like, meh, okay, it's not a problem. It won't keep me awake at night trying. Now, if it still had lines on it, then I'd be awake at night, like, how do I get rid of these damn things? But there's enough to worry about that's not working that I'm not going to worry about the thing that now works. So
yeah,
sometimes you just take your bonus blessing for the day and you let it go.
I spend my whole day in an environment where anytime something goes wrong, they have me fill out something called a 5 whys. And if anybody in the chat knows 5 whys, they can understand why I can't switch that shit off.
All right. Let's see. Weston says it's probably the bed that's causing the issues. A bed. We don't have a bed. We don't have a bed. It goes right through a feeder and right out the bottom. But I think what he's referring to is a scanning bed. Can't get away from the typical chrome card bend. Yes, correct. I honestly just don't think I'm going to do chrome cards in the machine. I'll just photo them and list them. That's kind of my take on it. I am going to, hopefully I'll have some time tomorrow. It's been a crazy busy week at my house. But hopefully I'll have some time tomorrow and I can plug in those chrome settings and at least get a couple scans in and see what they look like. And if I'm satisfied, maybe I'll do a batch of chromes, but there's just something to be said with some light being thrown off those cards. So
yeah, I agree.
I think it's pretty hard to replicate. Weston says NN21. I have a slightly different scanner, but it's a little lower end than the 400. I have a line show up occasionally too, but I've just come to accept it. If people ask, I tell them it's just a bad scan. Well, that's a good way to do it too. You could also just put something in your description. Okay, well, I scanned this card and it's got a line. Or heck, delete the photo and take your own photo and get rid of the scanned photo.
Yeah.
and just do it that way. If you already had the listing done, you don't really have any other work other than to just revise the listing and change the photos. CDC has saved Mance on a few cards too, Adam, already worth the membership on its own. I think you meant CDP.
Yeah.
Card Dealer Pro. Yeah.
CDC has helped me avoid COVID a few times too, though. So
Yeah, the CDC. Prevents the spread of viruses. Listen, kids, wash your hands. Sing happy birthday. 2 minutes. All right. Let's see. NN21. That's what I figured. I guess I can just inform them on my listing and just call it good. Yeah. That's an option too. I don't like to field a lot of questions like that. I would just go in and revise it and put a different photo in. That's not personally what I would do, or I'd try to rescan it or whatever. But anyway, the other thing I figured out since I made my scanner videos, I figured out how to rotate the photos in Card Dealer Pro before listing. So all those, parallel photo cards, I can list the correct way now instead of being sideways up and down. Yeah, it's pretty quick and easy to do. So it's not unlike when you take the photos in the app to list. You take it that way and then you just kind of hit the turn button. Basically the same way in Card Dealer Pro. Let's see. If I was buying an $800 scanner though, then I'd be pissed. If you ever find a way to get it off, I'd love to hear.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Spaceyak says 99 cents. Did you? Is that a donation, or are you starting your auctions at 99 cents?
Their previous comment.
Got it. I'd love the link for the 10s. Also, Adam, I'm starting to need them. Also, yeah, maybe I'll put it in this video. We'll see. I gotta get better about doing affiliates because I send a lot of people links on stuff to buy. And I could be getting a little credit for that, but I don't know. I like to just be generous too, I guess. If I'm helping all my friends, it's all good. Bradley Helston has joined us. Dollarbox, just reminding you to bring the Mikowski bobblehead to the Green Bay show on March 3rd. See you there. I can do that. Charlie and I will have a single table at that show because we plan to be buyers at that show. We won't have a show to go to for a couple of weeks, so we need to buy there. But we'll have a single table there. We'll have a few dime boxes, quarter boxes, whatever. And I'll bring the Mikowski with me. By the way, Charlie, I did get that all straightened away with Matt then too. So we've got the single table for the 3rd, and then our regular 2 tables for April 17th, I think it is.
Something like that.
Something like that.
At KI.
2 days after I give the IRS all my money.
Yeah.
Why didn't anyone tell me starting lineup cards had value? Hey, Lofi Joe, starting lineup cards have value. So it's kind of funny that he mentions this because we like the weird cards. Maybe we're the only ones, Charlie, but that, like, if I went through a box of, Bowman paper, Aaron Judge cards, and then all of a sudden I found a, Jake Plummer starting lineup rookie card, I'd be way more excited about the Jake Plummer rookie starting lineup card. They were actually pretty rare. A lot of people just tossed them. They wanted the figures, or they thought the figures were worth something. Lots of people, because it's a figure, they never opened the package, so the cards were never taken out of the packages. Lots of them got damaged. They're just a paper card, or they got, the toy got bent or whatever, for people storing it, and so your supply is less. They weren't overprinted. They just printed 1 copy for each figure they were trying to sell, which is not as many as cards are in packs and stuff. So there's a lot of kind of natural reasons why those have good value. And again, think about a collector, right? So let's say you're a Michael Jordan collector and you went through and you got all these cool 90s inserts and this and that. You're looking for the next Michael Jordan thing you didn't get. Well, I don't have any of his starting lineup cards that came with the figure. They're licensed. They've got the team, logos on it, the whole ball of wax. Now those buyers are going back and getting those cards, and so you have more demand. So that's where a lot of that kind of stuff comes from. But he also says I found an 88 Tommy Kramer starting lineup card in a cheap box of 800 random football. Was surprised at the comps. Yeah, and I would imagine not a lot of people save Tommy Kramer starting lineup cards. So slim stock out there for that, I would imagine. So that's awesome. Yeah, keep buying stuff like that. It'll do well. Sporto20MI joined us. Thank you for being here tonight. The last week has been crazy. I keep like 150 to 200 items in store due to time. Add as I can 800 transactions over the last year, now 125 in the last week, thanks to Series 1. Yeah, when you put out some new stuff, you can definitely bulk up your numbers. DGen Terp says I'd be sending the scanner back if I couldn't do shiny cards, as that is the bulk. That is the bulk of listings with Prism. Yes, exactly. If you are going to list modern cards, you can't do it all with the scanner. I think you just have to have that realization. Again with the ridiculous slander against Rob Deere. We need more Charlie in Baseball Card Illustrated and less nonsense. That's funny. I'm pretty sure. I mean, he was on the team the last 2 years, but didn't do anything at all. I think he's speaking about Woody there.
Woody, yeah. Woodruff.
Yes, Woody confirmed. We're a little behind on the chat. Bought a few absolute megas this weekend. Opened 2 boxes with the kids. Was going to sell the third, but decided to rip it and pulled my first kaboom. Bryce Young. Oh, that's a big one. I would also sell that.
You sell everything, though.
Take that kaboom money when you can get it. Well, you don't know what Bryce Young is going to be long term. You know, there's still that rookie hype. It's, yeah, I don't know. I would, yes. The UGG feeling when you put a card up as buy it now, sells in 10 minutes. Yeah, you go, uh-oh, I should have sold it for more, right?
Right, yeah.
Not sure if you saw that the eBay per transaction fee is going up to 40 cents for sales of $10 and over. I did not see that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Troy says, how do you create coupons to send with orders on eBay? Maybe I don't want to talk about that right now, but maybe we'll cover that in a future video.
Yeah, you've probably got some content out there about it too, right?
I have how to create coupons. Yep.
Okay.
I'm excited for the chipper to add to my PC. That's for sure. Thank you all for the great content as well. Very informative vids. Thank you for being here, Keith. We're happy to have you with us. I don't think the Epson 400 is designed to handle cards in penny sleeves. That would be my thought too. Yep. Okay. So one thing to keep in mind, and Charlie and I kind of talked about this too this past weekend when we were working on it. The scanner works really well for cards, or at least this scanner does. That they don't literally make a scanner for cards. Like, it's not a card scanner. It's a scanner that we put cards in. So it probably has some limitations, as that's not the general application for the use of it. It does scan full sheets of paper, and it works good at some of the machines work good as for cards, but some might not, because they're just not designed as a card scanning machine. If somebody came out with like a really awesome epic card scanning machine, at a fair price, that might be, they might have something there. That might be popular enough to.
Yeah,
to
like when you open up the 8170 or you go on the Ricoh website, they do dual marketing. It's marketed equally for office applications and card applications. So it really is an appropriation of an office tool.
Yeah, and I don't even think it was intended to be a card scanner, and then it kind of got used and promoted that way, and they're like, okay, this works. If it's going to help these bulk listers, get through their cards, we should sell it like that. I know Card Dealer Pro promotes the FI 8170, so there's a lot of legit companies out there that, are kind of saying this is the card scanner to use, or, use card scanners, whatever the case may be, just as a general statement. But yeah, it definitely works. I found a Fujitsu 8170 on eBay and got a heck of a discount on it. Well, That's awesome. Good for you.
You can find
Hopefully it
them out
works.
there if you're willing to search.
Hopefully, and hopefully it works. If it's used, hopefully it works well. Um, that's the one kind of downside to electronics, especially electronics that are, um, highly used, running a lot of stuff. What you could have found too is maybe somebody was going to start doing cards and then they decided not to, so they just eBayed the machine. So yeah, good for you. I hope it works out.
Yep.
All right. Bill's going to bring up the fun question that always comes up, or regularly comes up, I should say. Just got 2 item not received today, stuck at origin processing from February 8th. Do I just go ahead and refund or wait it out a few more days? That's the question. I just had one today too. If they at least scanned it as an origin, you can just refund and file a claim on it, and get your money back. So you could take care of the customer right away and not be out anything. I literally did that today. It could show up later down the road. I don't know. I had one that customer never received, and it was from October 30th that I just got back in the mail like last Thursday or Friday, something like that.
Yeah.
So you're looking at October, November, December, January, 3.5 months. Like, where the heck was this card? But there's so much stuff that gets, sits under the machine or gets stuck in a bucket or they find on the floor, you're processing so many pieces that sometimes things just happen later on. So you could be in contact with your customer. This is what I give you for advice on this. Be in contact with the customer, right? Message them and say, oh man, I see it hasn't gone anywhere. Do you want to wait a couple more days? Do you want to file a request? You said you had gotten a request. Oh no, not received today. Yeah. Hey, can you wait a little bit and we'll see if it shows up? Do you need the refund right? Do you still want the card? Things like that. Be in contact with them, see what they want, and try to work with them and get it taken care of. But if you sent eBay standard envelope, that is covered. If it got to the post office and they scanned it, meaning they received it, so they're now responsible for that piece of mail, you can file a PIP, which is a postage in, what does that stand for?
Sounds like you made it up. I'm not familiar with that one.
Or CIP, claiming product, claiming, I don't know. Anyway, search eBay for it. I just did one today. But you literally fill out the information. You have to put a screenshot of your conversation with the customer that they want the refund. Your order details in there, your customer's name, the order number, blah. You got to fill out a little online form thing and attach those couple PDFs. You file a claim. You put in your PayPal address. Which the first time I did, I'm like, why the heck do they need my PayPal address?
Yeah.
Doesn't have anything to do with it. But that's how they refund you. So you fill all that out, you file a claim, within like a day, you'll get the money in your PayPal account. So if you don't have PayPal, make sure you set up PayPal so you can get refunds. And that applies to anybody here who's watching this and trying to sell in volume, because you'll have cards that won't get to their destination. That is life. But as long as you can prove that it got scanned, and enough time has passed, to allow to try to get it delivered, you can refund your customer and then just file a claim. So that's literally how I do it now. Is as soon as I refund the customer, I go right to the claim screen, I complete it all and send it in. So my customer gets taken care of right away, and within a day or two, boom, I got my money back. So no loss.
I have not had to do a claim yet, actually.
It'll definitely happen.
Yeah, my standard response when I get these, and they do come up fairly often. I mean, once or twice every other week, I would say. I always look at how long it's been shipped. Has it hit a 15-day mark is the first thing I look for. But I always ask them to wait a few more days, because every time I've had it, the card eventually shows up 3-4 days later. So now if they say, hey, you know what, I don't want to deal with that, I'd rather just have a refund, I'm going to refund it right away. But I've been fortunate I haven't had that request. Most have said, hey, no problem, I'm not in any hurry for it, I'll wait it out. Usually it's like, on a Wednesday, and I'll say, can we give it till Monday? If it doesn't show by Monday, I'll refund, no questions asked.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Weston clarified here. He's correct. So it is a 10-day wait. But exactly like Charlie said, you can refund the customer right away. And then once that 10-day hits, you just file your claim. Most of the time, it's going to be after 10 days. Most people aren't going to chase you down in that 10-day mark. And if they do, it might be like day 8. So you refund them on day 8, and on day 10, you can file your claim and get your money. So you're looking at 2 days. And for a lot of what we're selling, you're looking at a $2 refund, a $3 refund. I had one that was like a $10 refund. It's not breaking your bank. It shouldn't be breaking your bank. But yeah, it's covered. So you want make sure you file those claims so you get that money back. When you two do a card show, are you pulling inventory from eBay store, or do you have other stuff set on the side specifically for a show? I just have stuff that I don't believe I can sell in my store, and I throw it in. I got probably 5 or 6 monster boxes going right now. Bring them to the show. I just put 10 cents a card on the box. I'll sell them in bulk cheaper. I've had show people come up and buy an entire box. It's just stuff I want to unload. It's generally commons. Some lower end stuff. I'll throw a few gems in there, but for the most part, it's just stuff I don't list in my store to sell. So it's just kind of a house cleaning thing. Honestly, I think the main reason we do the shows is just, again, to connect with the community. We do have YouTube channels, obviously. Yeah. But we have regular diggers that come to our show, and they'll dig in my boxes every show, find a nice little stack of cards, and even if you can just make your table fee back, it's kind of worth it for that one. We don't do a lot of shows, like once a quarter, essentially. The exception being this time we're doing the March and the April show, but it's just kind of a way to clean stuff out and give somebody an opportunity to get some stuff cheap if they're interested. We have a lot of like team collectors and stuff in our area, so they'll come through and like they want all the Mets cards. So you might have like a bunch of common Mets cards that I can't really sell online, or would be harder to sell online, I should say, that I don't want to take up inventory space in my online store, and they'll just buy 10 or 15 Mets cards, to add to their PC, and they get them for $1. So, I think
I do
that's
the same. I set them aside. There are a few things, especially now with the SKU system, I envision there's going to be times when I can see by my SKU that, boy, I've recycled this 3-4 times in my store and really not going. I'm going to pull that down, put something else out there that will move, and I'll put them in my 10-cent box to take to the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's even crossed my mind in the past couple of weeks to just not even do shows anymore, because shows are really our opportunity to buy. And I feel like even when we're set up at a show, we spend more time trying to go out and buy than we do to sell.
True.
I think it's good experience for your kids, so I like doing it. With Caleb and Creed coming, I think that's good for them, good exposure for them, and they're kind enough to watch the show. Watch tables for us so we can get out and do some stuff at the show. But I feel like it's still kind of worth it at this point, just community driven. We have, people will stop by the table. Oh, hey, I watch your videos, or I just want to stop by and say hi. MD Sports Cards came by last time. We're thankful for him for stopping by and introducing himself. And that's easier to do when you're set up than when you're just attending a show. You don't have like a gather space. It's kind of nice for when you buy cards, you just sort of run them back to your table and you got a place to put them, and you're there all day, so you can make a couple different trips around to the different dealers. We don't set up at like a really small show or anything like that, just the bigger quarterly show. So I think we're going to stick to that. I don't foresee us like branching out and setting up at a bunch of shows. We don't sell those kind of cards generally, so it's more just our sort of clean house that we're using card shows for. All right. Robert says he has an Epson 400 scanner, takes good pictures of penny sleeves and without them as well. Even got the Chrome cards to look pretty decent by playing with the brightness. Yeah, and that's kind of what we're looking at. I have the sort of recommended settings for Chrome based on lots of user input.
Yeah.
I figure why recreate the wheel if somebody's got, the 8170 tuned in pretty good for Chrome. Like I said, the last couple days I just haven't had time. Let's see what happened. What was going on this week? Monday, I was gone for a bit. I don't remember where I was, but yesterday I was at my parents bought a new condo, so I was over there helping my wife set up. She was nice enough to help move some laundry equipment around and get my mom's laundry room set up there, and then today I had the funeral thing. So, but tomorrow hopefully I'll have some time to get that going. So would love to see your settings, what you come up with for Chrome. Don't you worry, my friend. I will post a video. So, well, yeah, my intention is to kind of see how it works, and then I'll make a video of it, and I'll have a kind of a screenshot of how I do the settings. It will apply to the 8170, of course, because that's what we have. You might have to do settings a little differently if you have a different scanner. But I think the vast majority of the large volume sellers, which is what we are using an 8170. So I think it will still apply to a lot of the audience. I starred a comment. I don't even know how I did that. That's space.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I starred that. I don't even know how I did it. You can star important comments. You remember to discuss them during the show. Yeah, see, this was a super chat. Somebody donated 99 cents to our show. Thank you, Space 99 Yak. I appreciate you.
Nice.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that when we first started the show. Wait, live. We're caught up, right?
Yeah, we're caught up in the chat.
Well, there's one more now, but yeah, when we first started, we were using StreamYard. I'm like, well, we can't use super chats, and I wanted to enable that, not necessarily to get money for it, but I get messages once in a while, and people are like, well, how can I support the show? Which I completely appreciate, and it does cost money and time, and all that stuff to put these things together. So I really wanted to be able to enable that. Well, I forgot to tell you, Charlie, but I did figure that out. Obviously, I wasn't sure how it would work, but there it is. But yeah, so if you want to contribute at all to the channel, you certainly are under no obligation, but you can throw us a little super chat. We appreciate it. We'll obviously make sure we mention you on the show as well.
Remember, Adam is jobless. He's just sitting home every day in his car.
That's right. Just playing with cardboard and drinking Mai Tais, and yeah, it's the life of leisure for me, of course. I work way more hours now than I did when I worked at a job, but I enjoy it a lot more. So
I may have heard a comment from my wife the other day about we need to find some balance with this because I'd like to spend some time with you.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough to try to build something, and like I said, and somebody else had mentioned this, in a couple shows ago. Basically, I'm working 2 full-time jobs. Yeah, that's essentially what you have to sort of get to that point so that you can cut off from your other one and have a viable income. You're not going to get an income from this day one. I don't care if you scan 20,000 cards in today, you're not going to have enough sales the next day to be able, for most people. I guess everybody's living expenses is different, but You've got a mortgage to pay and a child to pay, and you need meals, and got to pay for a car. If you have the average living day-to-day expenses, you can't really run that day one. You got to sort of work perpendicular to a job that pays the bills until you can get this to a point where I think it's funny, Charlie, because you were showing me earlier today how you finally started getting some multi-card sales, and I was extremely happy for you. And then I was also like, he has no idea what he just got himself into. Right. Because you were just pulling a card, labeling it, and sending it out. Yeah. And now it's like, I got to dig out 10 of these cards. I got to put them in 2 card savers and tape them together. And, it's a different universe now. And even, your family helps you out sometimes filling those orders. Well, it's going to be a little bit different. Okay, pull this one, this one, and this one, and they go in this type of envelope, and this is how it could get, it's good, but it's going to actually make things a little more time consuming for you.
Yeah, I mean, now after the show, I've got 43 card order I got to pull. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's those bigger orders are definitely what you want, but they're something. They, especially if you don't have your entire SKU system, everything to your SKU system yet.
Yeah, I'm still split from the old system and the new.
And same here. So, and a lot of mine is just the Favre bulk that I have, but I sell a ton of Favre cards still. So I'm still digging through the Favre drawers, letting them sell down so that, I can start getting that stuff bagged too. But
that is what I like about this large order is a lot of it is from my old inventory.
Right.
That I'll be able to take a big chunk out of that box.
And it's funny because I get torn on those because I go to pull an order and I'm like, man, none of these are bagged, and I'm like, that's great because I can get rid of these, but then it's like, it's going to take me time to do this now. This is, I might have an order at this point where I have 10 cards and they're all bagged cards. I'm like, oh, snap, 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 done. So, and then I have to rearrange my drawers too, because I have some of the regular cards in the drawers. I have to kind of weed those down and move those over so that I can fit the bagged cards in. And it's kind of a whole process. I should have started that with that day one, but that's part of your learning and growing process. And
for sure.
Another reason why I say don't just scan in 20,000 cards and hope for the best. You need to, just like any job, right? You're not the professional that on day one. You have to kind of learn the job and create those the little things you do to work around the tweaks that the things that don't work perfect and so on and so forth. So
are you leaving all your large orders individually? I think you changed that at one point, didn't you?
It kind of depends on what I sell. So if I sell like a bunch of base Ghostbusters cards, I kind of just thick sleeve them in chunks.
Okay.
If I sell like 10 chrome Michael Vick cards, I sleeve each one. So it sort of depends on what I'm doing, what kind of space I need. If I sell 7 cards and they're just a little too thick to go in an envelope, I might break down the single sleeves and put them in a thick card sleeve.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a straight answer for that, but I try if I can. If it's not going to cost me extra, I try to sleeve each card. I do order my sleeves now in bulk, and I get them at a half a penny a piece, so they're about half price of retail. Most of my cards come sleeved because I buy them at shows. So if it's already sleeved, why would I take it out of a sleeve? So
right.
If I need the space. That was another thing I did today. It's funny because somebody was just mentioning their daughter. I'll get to that in the next message, but I went and had lunch with my daughter today at school, which was pretty cool. She's into like Japanese food and stuff like that. So I made her a curry noodle, and I brought her chopsticks and everything, and all her little friends came and ate with us at our table, and it was just awesome. So that's the beautiful part. Once you finally kind of can cut the cord from your job and start doing this, you can create some extra freedom for yourself. So there is a lot of reward for that as well. And then you got to hurry your butt back and pack cards for like 8 hours. So it doesn't go away. And nobody else is there to do it for you. At least not in my case. And, you got to get back to it, but it is nice to sort of maybe schedule some of your hours around those things.
Right.
Robert says my daughter was actually the one that done it. I remember correctly, it wasn't the numbers. It was more of a slide skill. I know it's not much help, but
settings.
Yeah, for the settings. In the setting, right. Stu's gotta eat. Exactly. You gotta make those ends. really all you have to do is like have a nice field of grass, though, right? I mean, it's not too hard to feed a goat.
Goats are pretty self-sufficient.
You just put them up on the roof.
Grass.
Have you ever been to Al Johnson's?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the goats on the roof.
Yeah.
Place of fun.
The friend that met me at the card show Saturday, he has a goat, and he has a little shed where it can climb up on top of it and stuff like that.
That's pretty awesome. I want a real goat, but then I want to get it like a big gold chain with a medallion, nice. And then pierce his ear. Have like a gold hoop earring. Like, I don't know. Goats just they would look cool with some drip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. My brain does weird things, and that was one of the things that it did weirdly this week. Were you using less brightness then, I'm assuming? Yes, I would think you'd have to turn a lot of the reflection down. I literally have the settings. I have the screen of exactly what you should set them at according to other users who have found those settings to work. So my plan tomorrow is to try some of that and get something out about it. I just downloaded we had about a 45-minute drive tonight to this place. So I just downloaded all the footage from the card show.
Okay.
I haven't even gotten to work on any of that yet. I have the pickups video filmed. So I've got a lot of stuff in the bag, but I think the settings one would be well received. I think that's a video that could do well. So
yeah,
I'll make sure I do something and put it out. Thanks for the Quentin McCracken and Charlie and the SI for Kids, Raul Mondesi. Yeah, buddy.
I actually said to myself, I sold a Quentin McCracken card.
Right? Did you sell the Raul Mondesi? Because I sold an SI for Kids, Raul Mondesi today. So maybe we must have each had a sale.
I sold. It was the same set as the Quentin McCracken. He bought a Raul Mondesi as well.
Right. This is a good question. Russell S. Has joined our show tonight. Thank you for being here. How sustainable is selling low-end cards on eBay going to be with eBay and the post office periodically raising fees, and or the possibility of the sports card market falling again? Well, I think those are a few different questions. So I'll take the first one if you want to take the second one, Charlie. First question is, how sustainable will it be with fees going up? Well, you can ask that about any business. So ask any business, well, your costs are going to go up. Yes, that happens to every single business on this entire planet. And basically what you have to do is raise your cost. Yep. So I used to sell, my base card price was $1.29 a couple years ago when I started. Now the lowest I sell a card for is $1.49, and that's drastically being reduced. Almost every card I have listed now is at least $1.99 with offers. So so I can get it down there a little bit, especially if there's a multi-quantity buy. But yeah, the prices have to go up over time, and buyers will have to pay more. Just like you pay more now for car insurance, you pay more now for your meal at McDonald's, you pay, things just go up over time, and you just adjust the prices, and that fits with it. Charlie, if you want to take the question about the sports card market falling, I'll let you handle that one.
So first of all, I would take the word possibility out of that question, because there will be a point where the market will fall, but there'll also be another point where the market rises. Every market is kind of cyclical. It's just a matter of how long the cycles are typically. So it's going to vary. It's going to rise and fall. I think the best advice on that is what some of my ancestors in the United Kingdom would say is stay calm and carry on. Don't panic. Don't overreact to the highs and the lows. Maintain your sensibilities and what got you there. I think as the market falls, prices do adjust, volumes may decline, but what we do is a little more recession proof because we're low end sellers. I talk about that all the time when I'm talking with people, is that at the price points we're at, they're pretty resilient. I would worry more about the high end stuff, the investors. So like Jeff Wilson's crew of, hey, let's buy a PSA 10 Shohei Ohtani, and I'm gonna buy that for, I don't even know what it's at right now, probably $1,200 or something like that. And in 5 years, I should be able to, have 20 grand on it. Well, those are the types of things that get hit more and you feel more versus, hey, I bought this 50 cent, gosh, I can't even think of a name. Freddie Peralta. What's going to happen that in 5 years when the market crashes? Well, it's still going to be a 50 cent Freddie Peralta,
Well, and I kind of think of who's your buyer, right? So our buyers are generally the collectors. They're not the flippers. They're not somebody comes in and they're buying my 1990 Jose Canseco Topps card. They're buying it because they want the card. And you also have to going back to the raising prices thing. If they pay $1.50 for it today, and I have to raise the price to $1.79 3 years from now, it's still going to sell. Like that's just kind of a natural level of increase. The post office this year is only going to raise they say they're only going to raise the postage once this year, and it was a penny.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really change anything that way. I can still get my envelopes for the same price. Our printing labels are still the same price from when I started, actually a little cheaper because I can buy bigger bulk. There really isn't anything that's increased the price that way. But I agree with Charlie. Our customer base is the end user, if you want to quote it into business terms, the collector, right? So people will still want to come and buy their, Ichiro cards. If they're a fan of Ichiro, they're going to want to buy their F1 drivers, whatever. And those prices don't really, if the card's $1.50, is it really going to fall to 24 cents? Probably not.
It doesn't fall out of, attainability, basically.
Right. It's a lot of these cards are such a small amount that it doesn't see those types of dips. And a good way to even prove this is look at how much the market fell since 2021.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest drop in card values since the mid 90s, maybe after that card boom. And I'm still selling cards for more than I was in 2021 in most cases. I've had to increase the prices a little bit due to costs, and I'm just selling more cards, even though I've had to raise the base price up a little bit. So there's still plenty of collectors out there. I believe that the market is growing. I believe Fanatics is putting a lot of efforts in to get more collectors into I want collectors. I don't want the flippers because that's not who I'm selling to. So for me, as long as, there's more collectors out there and there's fans of the sports and things like that, you're going to do just fine over the long haul. No, let's say I have a $20 card that drops to $10 because it was a rookie who's now injured or going to jail or, Wander Franco. Okay, I lost money on that card, but I've got 55,000 other cards that have, we're diversified enough that there isn't going to be a certain hit on a card that's going to take us out.
Yeah.
You go, okay, well, I can't sell the Wander Franco for $20 anymore. It now goes in my, I drop it down to $2 or whatever it is. That's how it is. That's what happens in the markets, but I've got Brock Purdy rookie cards I paid 50 cents for that I can now sell for $18. So you have to kind of take the good with the bad in it. Charlie and I have talked about this a lot about you take a loss once in a while. If you get a good customer out of it, Bo was talking about this too. I sell some cards at 99 cents. And if it sells at 99 cents, I don't make anything. But I get a customer and I get an opportunity to show them what I can do. And hopefully they'll be back and they'll buy some other cards or they'll subscribe to my channel or, something. You can get some sort of growth out of it. And that has value as well. So just because you lost a little bit of money on a card doesn't necessarily mean that it's a total loss.
Yeah.
And losses to some degree can be okay for a business too, because it does give you something to deduct from your income. Coaches Collectibles is here. He says, thanks for the content, guys. Thanks for joining us. We would be nothing without all of you, so we appreciate you. I use 2%, Brandon. It's the minimum, but I feel like I'm always at the top compared to all the normal listings of the same card that aren't promoted. I'm happy to pay 5 cents a card to be at the top.
Did we skip Brandon's question before? I remember.
I don't know. We must have
promotions and what we would recommend for promotions and what we promote at.
I must have missed that one, so my bad. I'm so late to the party here. Not sure if I asked, but I'm trying to figure out what is the best promoted rate to use. What do you guys promote your listings at? Now, we get asked this question at least a couple times a week. Well, definitely on this live, and that's okay. Asking the question more than once is okay because we understand there's a lot of unique users and new sellers and stuff. But I get this message to me, on occasion here and there. And my answer has never changed. It's the dynamic. I list it at dynamic. If it takes me an extra % or 2 to get the sale, I do it. Now we're doing lower end cards, so that percent generally isn't that big a hit. If you sell a card for $2 and you're paying 10%, it costs you 20 cents. It's the cost of doing business. Let's say now I plan to build my own Shopify website to sell cards on. Great, that's going to save me all those middleman fees and those back end fees and all that. But I have to get customers to my store to buy cards, so I'm going to have to pay for promotions and per click listing and Google placement, and there are marketing expense. If you want to sell online, it's a huge competitive area, and no one knows who you are or cares for the most part when you're starting out. You can build your brand certainly, but you got to find a place to do that and build that up to and get those customers. So I don't have a problem with that. Most of the time I'm selling multiple cards to a buyer at this point. So if I'm selling, 10, 15 cards, that 20 cents is still less than the transaction fee I would pay if I sold that card on its own without promoting. So you also have to remember too, that just because you promote a card doesn't mean that it's going to sell as a promoted listing.
Right.
You're still going to get your organic sales. Sell that card as a promoted listing, and then make sure you keep in contact with that customer. Send them a newsletter, send them coupons, include a business card with your order. Hopefully they'll be back and they'll go directly to your store and buy stuff, and now you don't have those promoted fees on their next order. So it gives you that opportunity to gain that customer who doesn't know who you are, and then you can use that opportunity going forward to prove to them that you're worth their business, and you won't have to worry about that promotion cost. Right, Charlie?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. All right, sorry about that. I didn't mean to skip that one. And yes, Weston says he does 2%. Let's see. He says 2%. He thinks that's enough for him, which is great. That's the beauty of it. You can decide how much you want to put into the promotion part. What I can tell you is promotions work. Okay. Yep. So you have to decide what level you need to be at in order to get that promotion to kick in and get you a sale versus somebody else. But I can tell you, if you don't use promotions at all, you're not going to get the sales, the number of sales that others are getting. Brandon says he's trying to figure out how much of a difference the different rates are. I'm currently at 8%. See, I guess Charlie knows me, and I don't like to work any harder than I have to. And I look at it like, if I just set it at dynamic, it's just going to pump me out there to be competitive, and I don't have to deal with it. Some cards cost you 10%. Some cards, there's a lot of non-sport cards where I pay like 4%.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of non-sport, less competition. So I don't want to set it at 8%. It doesn't need to be for that card. So I just put it at dynamic. eBay has their feel for like where you need to be to, get in front of some eyes of some customers, and I just leave it at that, and what it costs, it costs.
I will tell you that when I first started doing this, I was very leery of promotions. I was like, I don't want to put any more money into this than I have to. I I'm selling low end cards. Why am I going to let eBay take a bigger chunk of it? But I am a believer. Once I actually tried it and saw a step level increase in results, and still, like to Adam's point, just because you promote it doesn't mean you end up paying that promotional fee. There are times someone will look at your promoted item, but then buy 5 other cards and not the promoted one, so it's a marketing expense. Just look at it as a marketing expense. If you want to be competitive in that marketplace for that player, that set, eBay's telling you this is what we recommend. They've got a lot more people that are trained and up to date in the market on that than I have working for me. So why wouldn't I trust them with it?
Yeah, there's a couple other comments here that I want to add to. One is I don't promote any brand new listings, so
Yeah.
I'll list them out there, let them sit for a couple of weeks, and you'll get a lot of sales on your new listings. You know, the new heat brings in the money, so you won't pay anything on those. So I kind of look at promotions as helping me sell cards that maybe don't naturally have a quick sale.
Yep.
Which you're gonna have if you're selling low end, you're gonna have a lot of cards like that. You need that help. The other thing is, and I was talking to Bo about this a while ago, and he made a good point about it. Bo is probably just as lazy as me. He doesn't want to do any more work than he has to, which is smart. That's the smart way to operate a business. Focus your time and attention on things that actually need the time and attention. But he said, I don't care. eBay did all the work for me. I'll give him 10 cents,
Yep.
Right? So all you literally have to do is list the card, and then when it sells, you ship it. Now, the important part of that is you have to price that into the card, right? So if you're going to buy the card for $1, you can't sell it for $1.20 and promote it. You're going to get hit with your back end fee. You're going to have to pay postage. So you ought to make sure that your cards that you're selling are going to be able to pay for that possible promotion expense.
Yep.
So you're not taking losses. Also, I think it is sustainable as it's only raising a few cents, and over time you can adjust the cards to build it in. Correct. He's referring to the sustainability of selling cards. Nope, it was from you, Adam. Yes, Modesty. Correct. Yeah, he's talking about the.
What do you got for me? It was a Modesty from the 99 Upper Deck Ovation set. Do you remember that one?
Yep, I do.
It's the baseball.
Yeah. I have a bunch of Jeters like that, the greatest Yankee of all time.
Greatest Yankee.
So
we had some good discussion about that at the card show with other buyers out there.
Yeah, it was kind of fun, and I have good video of that too. Yeah, we had kind of a guy got stuck in the middle of the two of us. So Charlie's in the I know, it was great. We did that with a couple of people. Remember that younger kid who was in there too?
Yeah.
But anyway, Charlie was in the dime box, and I was like on the dollar box on the opposite side of this guy, and he was talking about how he likes the older players, and Charlie pulls out a Jeter that he found in the dime box, and I'm like, oh look, the greatest Yankee of all time, and the guy's like, oh, I think Mickey Mantle's got something to say about that. And it's fun. It's all in good fun. I don't. How can you compare Jeter to Mantle? Like they're not even like comparable, right? Totally different positions, different eras of play, totally different teams. The rules were different then. Like the baseball rules have changed quite a bit since then. So yeah, it's just good fun. All right, I try to give eBay the least amount of money possible. Yeah, we all do. But I also still want to sell as many cards as possible. I seem to sell a decent amount with 2%. Maybe if you had a higher demand cards than the 8%. Yeah, if it's working for you at 2%, then keep that going. But I believe you'll find that you'll have more activity if you can increase that. Yeah, you got a Raul from each of us. Yeah, I appreciate that, Brandon. I remember selling the card. I don't remember the name that I shipped to. I tend to look at the usernames more than anything else, because when I look at my multiple orders, like if people paid for more than one order, and I, of course, combine them to ship, it goes by username. So I don't always remember the person name, but we appreciate the business. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we did. My wife and I did enjoy your username, Brandon. So I won't share it on here, but
Right, same. I remember it too after you said it. Yeah, it's good. That's the other thing. I try not to share eBay information on YouTube because it's not, the customer didn't necessarily sign up for me to share their, what they're doing on YouTube. So anyway, Adam and Charlie, how many cards are you selling a day on average, roughly? Just curious. I'm probably close to somewhere between 180 and 200 cards on per day. And then the weekend, I generally don't work on the weekend. They're not business days, so I don't have to ship. So I'm going to say probably about 4 to 450 by the time I'm putting everything together on Monday. So Monday is basically an all-day shipping for me. It's 8 to 10 hours, sometimes 12 hours, depending on what I got. Cutting it down a bunch now using the SKUs, but the SKUs are helping make it quicker, but then now I'm getting more orders. So it's kind of sort of just keeping it at an even playing field.
Yeah. And I've spent like the last month or two at about 5 to 10 a day. And in fact, recently I was kind of talking about, okay, I feel like I need to shake things up to break through to the next step level progression. So I changed my strategy last night. I put out a store-wide coupon for some multi-card sales, and I believe I'll be shipping out 60 cards after the show.
Yeah, once you start having enough stock where people want more than one card from you, that's the big game changer. Allows you to make a little bit more money. You can give them a little bit more deal, but then you're selling a lot more cards. So that increases your quantities, which is definitely something you want. Defines Deftones, right?
Yeah, that's his reference.
Yeah, exactly. MI3 card says that's pretty awesome. I'm not exactly sure what he's referring to. If he's referring to how many cards we sell, but yeah, it takes a long time to get up there. Even Charlie, I don't think we would consider you new anymore. You've been doing this long enough, but
intermediate.
Yeah, it's you still have lots and lots and lots of room to grow. So you can kind of, sky's the limit with this stuff. It depends on how much you want to handle. Now, scaling, I would say, is the biggest issue in what we do versus like high-end card selling, that kind of thing. We're not doing as many transactions. You have to come up with your systems to make sure that you can expedite your time on things as much as possible. Hire people or whatever you got to do. So that's why, again, I say at day one, don't scan in 20,000 cards and just think you're going to be ready to go. Yeah. You need to have storage systems in place. You need to have your inventory system in place. You need to know the cards. You need to know how to price. Yeah. You need to know how to list accurately, talk to customers. You need feedback scores, so that you get those that the customers have that trust in you. It's a grinder. It's a grind business, and then you can get to a point where, okay, well, I don't need to get customers. That's happening for me. Now I have to handle the increased volume and the growth, and I got to make sure I can get enough inventory. You start one problem goes away, and then you kind of walk into the next one, and that's part of that growth process.
Yeah.
And then eventually you have so much money coming out of your ears, you won't know what to do with it, but to give us super chats. That's it. That's the only thing you'll be able to do with that money, because you'll have too much. You won't be able to spend it.
The thing I would say about, getting started and scalability is you're absolutely right. Like, you're going to need to spend a ton of time on processes when you get started, and really fine-tuning the processes that work best for you and are efficient for you. And you're going to do a lot of trial and error stuff. You're going to wake up one morning and you're going to say, this is the best way for me to list cards. And then 2 months from that, you're going to say, why was I doing that? I need to be doing it this way. It takes a while to find your sweet spots. And I think everybody's a little bit different. Adam and I work totally differently. In fact, I was kidding with Adam last weekend over the scanner, and I said, "Here's what I do. I know you won't do it, but here's what I would do."
Yeah. Yeah, it's completely individualized, which is also what makes it great. And even the cards you sell are going to be different, right? So most people would compare us to like Bo, but I think Bo sells very different cards from what we sell in many ways. He's very baseball focused, prospects, super, super low end. I mean, he's buying, pallets of 1 cent cards, and Charlie and I are actually very similar on what we're doing with our cards. We're buying cherry pick stuff from shows. We're paying a little bit more per card, but not much more because we're still buying in bulk. Um, our average sale price is higher. My average price is like $3.58 per card. So you have to kind of decide where your spot is. How much do you want to pay for promotions? We just talked about that. What are promotions? How do I create a coupon? How do I make a newsletter? There's a lot of stuff you really got to nail down, and you sort of need that taste as you go along so that you can get all those things figured out for yourself. I had no intentions of getting a scanner like 2 weeks ago, so I have a scanner now. Yeah, and things change over time. You need to adjust with them. When I first started, there was no eBay standard envelope program at all. It didn't exist. So we were just mailing it in an envelope with a stamp on it and hoping it got there. You had no tracking. You had no recourse. You had, you could not be you couldn't even be a top seller because you have to provide tracking information in order to qualify. It's one of the metrics.
Yep.
So things change over time, and you have to be able to figure out how to fit into that as you're growing as well. I saw Ethan tonight, by the way, Charlie.
Oh, okay. How's he doing?
Yeah, he just pretty well. He just picked up his VIP ticket, so he's going to be heading with us to
excellent.
To where the heck are we going? Cleveland. That's it.
Cleveland. I heard Cleveland rocks.
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks. I haven't heard that in a long time. Drew Carey show was awesome back in the day.
Yeah. I have an aunt that used to go on Halloween as Mimi, and she nailed it.
Nice. Yeah, with all the makeup and everything, and the moo she would wear, and I forgot about her. Yeah, she was pretty awesome. I looked at an old video on your sourcing tips through eBay with searching for misspellings in listings, and it's already had great initial results. Awesome. It's interesting because sometimes I'll get messages from people like, "Hey, I saw your video today. Thanks for the tips on how to color code your listings," or something like super random old. And I'm like, "Oh, people still watch that video," So it's pretty cool that I've been able to make some content where even a year or two later, somebody can go find that and it still has value to them, Because I think like your pickups videos maybe doesn't have much of a place a couple of years from now. Versus some of those things where, you have some tidbits that kind of stand the test of time. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm glad that helped you out, Brandon. Hopefully you're able to get some scores that way. Now, the main reason I had ever mentioned that is I'm a Favre collector, and so many people spell his name wrong. So yeah, one of my regular searches was Farve instead of Favre, which is the correct spelling, and I got a lot of good deals that way. MI3 card says he's averaging 2 sales a day, trying to build up better inventory, make it worth it, trying to learn lessons and pick up tips to improve. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with 2 sales a day. I started with a sale or 2 a day. Take that time, learn the cards, get some more inventory, and just build it up over time and see if it's something you want to continue doing. Some people don't like a grind. They don't want to have to continually work on it to get bigger. And then this probably isn't for you because there's no way around it really. You can go out and buy 100,000 cards tomorrow, so you've got all your stock. You can scan them all in at once and maybe hire somebody right off the bat. I mean, you can maybe jump to the top pretty quick. We're going to run into all kinds of issues that somebody who's been doing it for a while doesn't necessarily face. And you have to resolve. Remember, you have customers that are ordering cards and they expect them delivered in a certain amount of time. So as soon as you fail at that, you're doomed.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure that you can meet and exceed expectations right off the bat, or you're never going to get anywhere. There's so many businesses that just try to start huge, and all that is a recipe for failure in a lot of cases. Since you bring it up, oh boy, what is good advice on figuring a price to sell cards? In particular, best offer, free shipping. So that's how I price mine. It's best offer with free shipping. I just kind of have a feel for it at this point. I've sold probably 100,000 cards. I would think at this point, I just kind of know what the price is. Now, if it's definitely a card I don't know, or it's a vintage or a sport I don't normally sell, whatever it is, then I'll either look up sold comps, or in this case, now with the scanner, I can just price it right in Card Dealer Pro. Or I'll go just start listing it in my phone and see what price it comes up with. But most of your cards are going to have kind of a base, right? So if I've got like a non-shiny base Emmitt Smith 90s clear card, I charge $2.99 for it. $1.99 or $2.99, depending on my quantities. Because I just know that that's a price I can sell those cards at and accept, some lower offers on. The other super important part of this, and most people don't talk about it ever on their shows or their discussions about this, but the cost of the card matters a ton on this. Great, these cards are selling at this price. Well, can you sell it a little bit less because you got it really cheap? Let's say you found a $20 card, and Charlie and I had this conversation many, many a times. If you found this card in a quarter box and it's a $20 card, you can sell it for $18. That's okay.
Yeah.
You got a quick sale on it. You made a huge profit margin. Take that $18, buy some more cards, and move on. But I know that was something you struggled with a little bit early on, Charlie. It was, well, I could have sold that for 20. So what? You got a good customer out of it now. You gave them a bit of a deal. You got a good price on so I think that should play into what you're asking or what you're even willing to accept on a card. Now, if you got it out of ripping packs, there can be some more difficult ways to figure out. Cost of goods can be challenging that way in cards to some degree, but if you literally pulled it out of a quarter box, find out what you need to get for your margins and make sure you get that. Whatever you can price it above that, cherry, even better. But don't be afraid to give up a little bit to get that sale and get your get a good profit and move on.
Amen.
Amen. Where do you adjust your promotion rate? It just asked me if I want to promote listing and say 13% rate. Yeah, so you have to, I don't even remember because I said this so long ago, but you have to go into the promotions tab, I believe, on eBay. I can try to look for it real quick.
Well, are you trying to do it on your phone or on a desktop?
Good question. Because I believe it's under marketing promotions. Because I have all my cards set to the same promotion. Other than brand new listings, I don't have promoted at all yet.
I will tell you the easiest way. If you're on a desktop, go to your listings, your active listings, and they give you a sort in the quick filters at the top that says promoted listing, standard, eligible. And if you click that, it's just going to give you what you don't have promoted. You can select everything and hit promote, and it's going to pop up a window that says, how much do you want to promote it, or do you want to turn on dynamic promotions? And
that's right.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. We don't choose any rate. Charlie and I have done this for quite a while now, and we've stuck with dynamic, and it's worked very well. Now, you don't have to do it that way. We really appreciate everybody coming on here and you're learning stuff from us, and that's great. But as we said, not even 10 minutes ago, this is a very individualized thing. You have to figure out what works for you. You might not be selling the same cards we are. So you don't have to promote as high. Maybe you have to promote higher. You're trying to sell those 1 penny flip cards. That's going to be tough to find a customer for that. So, maybe you have to put more into it. You're going to have bigger margins since you only paid a penny per card, but might cost you a little bit more to find your buyer. So, I can tell you when I buy Barry Sanders cards, it's easier for me to sell those than it is, some other generic Brian Jordan card, right? Brian Jordan, our two-sport athlete that we love so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, you really got to figure out what works for you. But yeah, that's how I think Charlie's right. That's probably the easiest way to change it. I never had to change it. I just set up promotions, I set it at dynamic, and then I was done. I haven't done anything with it since. And that was, I don't know, probably 9 months ago now, something like that, 10 months.
And from that organized listing view, you can promote single cards too and go through the same process. But what's great is you can do them all at once if you want. And let's say in the past you've promoted some things at a rate that you've come to decide that that's not the right rate anymore. Instead of doing each one and adjusting each one, you could just stop promoting all of them at once,
Right.
and then select them all again and promote and set what you do want.
Yeah,
so that
you could
I would
change it at that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're never stuck with it. You can always change it. It's not like a contractual thing or anything. So if something's not working, change it. Just change your percent. If you're doing 8 and you're like, well, that doesn't seem like enough, just change it to 10 if you want to try 10,
Yep.
I haven't found a reason for myself to cap. Anything that I've had to pay on the promotion side, I've easily made up in my margins. So I make sure that I price enough high that it's not going to matter. I think if your pricing and your margins are very slim, if you're having to pay a lot for your cards or you're not charging a lot for your cards, that's when it gets tougher, because every penny that gets taken out is that much harder for you to be able to recover.
Yeah.
All right. So Tom has joined us. Hey, Tom.
TV.
Better late than never.
Slap in the face, man.
He has a hand up. I thought it was a tipped over goat at first, or a Lego guy. I don't have my glasses on, so things get weird. All right, let's see. Is it better to use a coupon than to put volume pricing on the listings? I'll let Charlie answer this one.
Good.
I gotta bounce out for a minute. I'll be right back. I'm gonna let you take this one.
Yeah. So that's a great question. One I was wrestling with myself of late. So I have always put the volume pricing on multi-quantity listings, a single listing with multiple copies of the same card. And I felt like while that was okay, it got me a few more sales here and there. One of the things that held me back on that is I don't have 12 copies of the same card. And a lot of times, like Adam will sell 10 copies of the same card. A lot of times it's vintage, or he buys a lot of single player lots sometimes where he can do that. I think my listings didn't work as effectively with that. So I moved to keeping those volume pricing on listings, but also add the coupon. And I would say the two together are probably the most effective strategy I've done, because I'm seeing immediate results from that. It's not dependent on how many copies of a single card do I have. And I think early on, I had some misunderstanding of how the volume pricing worked. I remember at one point I thought, well, I'm just going to put volume pricing on everything, because then if a person buys 3 of this card, but then buys 2 more cards, it's still going to put that volume pricing all together. I don't believe it works that way. I believe the volume pricing on a specific listing is contained to just that listing. Whereas the coupon lets you spread out the buy over all inventory or selected inventory in your store. So you get the best of both worlds. So I would really say do both. Adam, what say you?
I agree.
Very well then.
Yeah, definitely. Coupons help. You can also send that coupon out, so it allows you to contact some customers. There's lots of different ways to set them up. You can set up a private one, a public one, do a certain percent off, buy a certain quantity, you can maximize how much the discount is. Like there's a ton of different options with it. So yeah, I think it's something that you want to try to use at least on occasion, if not, constantly. Have something out there. It should help you get some more multi-card orders. That's really the goal there. When you're selling low end, what kills you is selling single cards, because you get that 30-cent, transaction fee, which apparently is going up to 40 cents for a $10 card. You have to pay 64 cents to ship it. You got to use an envelope. You got to, all your supplies for a single card. So yeah, multiple cards is definitely the big thing. Robert says you can play with the promotion rate. A few days ago, I went dynamic on all of mine. My phone was going nuts, cha-ching all the time. You can change it back pretty quick. Yeah, I want sales. I have plenty of margin in my cards, so whatever I can do to help me generate extra sales, especially multi-card sales again, promotions are worth it in my opinion. Yeah, I'm just going back through some of my statements from this last year, and yeah, I gave eBay a crap ton of money, but I made good money. So you can't bite the hand that feeds, right? eBay has to get their kick. If you can find a bigger platform that's at a better deal, that gets you the same amount of sales and income off of it, go for it. But I haven't found anything out there that competes. eBay does a pretty good job with it. Having access to a world market at your fingertips to sell a card is worth 10% easily. Let's say you have a piece of furniture you want to sell, right? And you take it to a local place in your town that does commission selling, right? Like you can sell it in their store or whatever. What do you think it's going to cost you to do that? Right? Like let's say you get a booth at an antique store, right? What do they, if they don't charge you a monthly, they just charge a percentage. What do you think they're going to charge you to do that?
10-20%.
That's the cost, and you don't have access to a world market doing that.
Yeah.
You have to do all the work yourself. They're not going to bring anybody into the store. If you want people to go to that antique mall and see your shop, you're going to have to promote it, Yeah. I mean, yeah, they have a sign on the door and, maybe they put an ad in the paper, whatever they're doing to promote their overall business, but they're not doing anything to say, hey, come buy these cards from Adam at his antique spot here.
Yeah.
So, you're going to have, I don't know, there's just a cost of doing business. That's just how it is. Right, Chuck?
Yep, I talk about that in my sales videos all the time. Impressions is one of the stats we look at. And I always talk about how, I get over 2 million impressions a week. I couldn't have a brick and mortar place around here where I'm going to get 2 million people plus walking by my store every day and looking in the store window saying, oh, that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to go in there. eBay does that for me for pennies on the dollar.
And that impression rate will go up as your store grows too. My impression rate is 35,914,061 right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 35 million, stamps on the internet of that people can go look at. That's impressive. Here's the key to remember with eBay too, okay? Versus most other business models. Let's say, okay, you get a certain number of free listings, right? Let's just say they're free without a monthly fee, just to make this an easier argument.
Shits and giggles, I think we call it.
Sure, shits and giggles. There you go. So I list a card on there. How much money do I have to pay eBay when I list that card?
Nothing when you list it.
Nothing. Nothing. Zero. So I bought that card for 10 cents and now I sell it for $3. And I have to pay eBay 30 cents, 60 cents, whatever it ends up being with the
40
promotion.
cent final value fee, something like that. Yeah.
Right. But all the rest of the money's mine.
Yeah.
You know, after shipping costs. There are not a lot of businesses where you have no cost up front. You only pay when you're a success. That's a big advantage. So anyway, Robert still has his on dynamic. Yeah, well, I think it's one of those things where once you go dynamic, you never go back. Right?
That's what they say.
Right. Weston says no. Give them a day for them to be picked up, and another day for them to get scanned at the distribution center. They don't get scanned upon pickup, or even at your local post office.
A question from Space 99 Yak.
Well, damn it! Why do I keep missing questions? What's going on here?
You're tired. We understand, Adam.
Here he is. I am tired. Yeah, I filled 8 cards over the weekend. Dropped them in my local op mailbox Tuesday morning. They haven't been scanned in. Should I be worried? No. Usually they'll sit there for a day or two before that scan happens. You have to remember too, Monday was a holiday.
Yes.
So they're behind. They're like a day and a half behind because of that. And then of course it was right after a weekend, which they don't scan anything on the weekend either. So
yeah,
you'll be okay. Robert says you can play with that promotion way. Oh wait, we already talked about that. Let's see. You can use volume pricing either way. Yes. I actually literally just turn volume pricing on even if I only have a single card listed. And the reason I do that is what if I go back and add another card because I do sell a lot of quantity of a single card. So I want to make sure that, yeah, maybe today I'm listing and I only have 1 copy of that card, but tomorrow I might get a couple more copies that I want to add. So I just have volume pricing turned on.
You know what's nice about the app is if you increase the volume to more, or the volume to, or quantity to more than 1, it automatically cues you to turn on the volume discount.
Correct. Yep. So just leave that on. You can set what your volume discount is. You can set the template or the amounts for that. So I did that way early on, when I started listing quantity, and just kept it at that ever since. So I think I do like 5% if it's more than 1, 10% if it's 4 or more, something like that. You have it set, you scale it based on how many they buy. Yeah, I'll have somebody come in and buy like 10 of these Brady's or 10 of these Favres or whatever, and if I have 20 copies of a card, I want to sell 10 of them to one buyer if I can. That's a great sale. So something to try to achieve. I think it's worth turning it on. Again, doesn't cost you anything to turn it on. Right. And Charlie's right. If you don't have any volume pricing set, go to your listings, just do a bulk edit. You can change it in the one tab where it has all the different drop downs of fields you can change for all your listings. Actually, I think you can only do 2,000 listings at a time, but probably most of you are under 2,000 listings or just barely over that. But you can just change it to change the volume pricing, hit the volume pricing tab, set all your volume pricing in there, and boom, it'll apply it to all of your listings. It's pretty simple. So the more common cards sale or box them up for bulk sale. That's kind of the constant dilemma on that. I like to just throw them in my 10-cent box. If I feel like it's a card I can't sell online, and again, I just kind of go by feeling and experience that way. I throw it in my dime box. I put them out on the table at a show, and I let somebody pick them out and enjoy them that way.
Yeah,
that's how I do it.
I don't act like this at 2024 Tops already. Then I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to list these. These might go right into my 10-cent box.
Yep. And somebody will love to look at 2024 Tops. Those are nice new cards. So
yep. It's names that you don't see on TV every day and hear people talking about. Perfectly good baseball players, but just not a lot of hobby.
Right. And like I said, your local buyers might be looking for different cards than your online buyers. one of the guys who buys stuff from me every time is a Mets collector, and he comes in and he'll buy whatever Mets cards I have, regardless of the name. So he's happy to get some cards for his collection at 10 cents a pop. So
Yeah.
um,
Now, for sure,
so-
I'm pulling those Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani out of there.
right,
Freddie
right.
Freeman, Mookie Betts, all those I'm pulling out and I'm listing. But then eventually you get to a tier where you say, is this worth my time to list it? And am I going to get at least $1.50 or something like that for this? And if the answer is, boy, I'm not so sure that will happen, then the dime box is probably the right venue.
And sometimes you'll be surprised at who sells too, right? Sharif Abdur-Rahim sells, right? I sold a whole bunch of those lately. A bunch of Eddie Jones lately.
Elvis Gerback today.
Elvis Gerback. I sold a what was the other one? I sold a Drew Lock rookie. Like, who the heck's buying Drew Lock right now? It was an unparalleled rookie. Nice looking card, but so sometimes just give it a shot, list it, let it list for a while. I agree with Charlie. That's one of the reasons I liked about dating the bags. I can see how old they are, and then maybe I go, these have been listed now for a year, and I got 2 cards left in this bag with no interest. I'll take those, pop those out, throw them in my dime box, take the bag, and relabel it with some cards that on a new date. So, yeah, I mean, I think for a while Bo was just listing everything. He was just scanning it all in and listing it. Even if it was 1991 Fleer Commons, he was listing them. So, you just remember you have a limit to your listings, so you don't want to fill it up with a bunch of crap either. You want to make sure you have enough spots there for stuff that definitely will sell, and that you can make more money on. But yeah, that's how I've done it. I just throw them in my dime boxes, and I haul those to shows a couple times a year, and they get bought down a bunch, and I throw a few more in, and I just kind of keep going like that. I did have somebody who bought a whole box from me a couple shows ago. I was happy to get that sale. It's, again, stuff I can't sell online, so yeah, figure out what you want to do with them. Some people donate them to boys and girls clubs. Whatever you want to do with it is is up to you. But I don't do bulk sales. I don't like specifically say, oh, here's a 5,000 count box for $50. I don't do any of that. I'd still rather have people dig through them and get a dime a piece for them. So now my dime boxes don't grow as much as they used to, because I used to buy a lot of lots on eBay, and I would get stuff in there that I couldn't really resell, versus now I'm mainly digging through boxes at shows, and I'm just buying the cards that I know I can resell, that I'm going to list. I wouldn't pay a dime for a card and then stick it in my dime box. That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. So, now if I buy a whole box at a show just because I can get it at a good deal and there's enough good stuff in there, and I end up with, a little stack of things I don't believe I can sell, sure, I'd stick those in a dime box. But like Charlie said, you rip some wax or you do something like that, and you got some cards in there where you're like, nah, I don't know if I could do anything with these. Those go in my dime box. So, you'll probably always come up with some cards that you can't sell online, but as you grow and you're focusing your buying on things you can resell, you shouldn't have quite as many cards going in there.
Yeah, like, am I going to sell an Esteury Ruiz card very quickly? Or Ranger Suarez? Pitchers typically don't do as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron Savali, do I want to take the time to list that and see if I can maybe get 99 cents out of it in the end? Or do I want to move on to stuff I know will sell?
Now, with using the scanner, it's not that big a deal to list it. You're looking at a couple of seconds to list that in with some other cards. So you might want to take a shot at it and see, just because it's a brand new product too.
Yep.
You might get some buyers who are just like, well, I collect Royals cards, so I want this guy. 2024 Topps came out, so not all the collectors have them yet. They're still buying.
But that's the cost benefit is swaying now, that with the scanner, there's less time involved, right?
Right.
So the cost is less because time is a cost. So that means my breaking point. So if before I would have not listed all of these. Maybe now with the scanner, I list half of these
Mhm.
because my break point has now changed because so much time was taken off the listing process.
And if it's 50 cards, I mean, I was able to do 50 cards in like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, from start to finish.
Yeah.
So that's running it through the scan, putting them in there. Well, I should correct myself. I don't think 2024 is in Card Dealer Pro yet. 24 tops. So you'd have to go in and enter all your information for those cards too. Versus, cards that have been out there for a while. But let's say that was a vintage stack, where it might be like, I don't know, some random kicker for the Chicago Cardinals might not have much of a market, but boom, I can scan that in with all my other stuff, and it takes me 3 seconds to list that one card, in the bulk group with everything else. Because Card Dealer Pro identifies it. I don't really have to do anything other than set my price on those cards and boom, upload it. So time versus cost, of course, is something to always review. Now, Russell, I think, has the same confusion you originally had. He says, my goal in using volume pricing is to get multiple sales of more than one of my listings rather than to sell multiple copies of the same card. Your volume pricing is not going to do that for you.
Yeah.
Volume pricing only gives the discount on that particular listing. So if you list 6 copies of a card and you do volume pricing, the only way they're going to get that savings is if they buy the multiple copies of that card.
Yeah.
So if you want to get multiple sales of multiple listings, you have to send out coupon deals because that'll cross all your listings.
Or you don't have to necessarily send it out. That is a great strategy, but you can create a promotions banner on your page to advertise. Here's the code to put in at checkout to get whatever percentage off on a card number X,
Yep, you got to have you have to have a password or whatever at checkout, a coupon code. Space 99 Yak sent us another 99 cents. Thank you so much, very much. We appreciate that.
We're gonna have to start getting some tricks that Adam can do every time we get them.
Right. Right. Russell says he's pretty sure. Russell says he's pretty sure it works both ways. I can tell you it does not. Your quantity discount is only on that specific listing. I like the coupon promotion because then all the cards show the coupon on the side of the listing in red. Yes, it gets pretty much advertised to your buyers as well. Yeah. So even if you have a buyer who comes in who doesn't know your store and doesn't know what the discounts are, that coupon should be, as long as you have it listed publicly, should be there saying, hey, save this much on these amount of cards, enter this code. And then all they have to do is simply add all the cards that they want to buy to their cart, go to checkout, put in the code, and boom, they get that discount. So, yep, the coupon is the bomb for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we're at 2 hours, 42 minutes. We started late tonight. It's 11:15. I think we're going to hang it up for tonight. I know we still have 29 live viewers. That's amazing at this time. We really appreciate you guys. Next week, we should be on time. I don't foresee anything popping up that's going to put us off. I was contemplating just still going at 8 and just throwing Charlie on for a half hour, but I didn't want to do that to him. So I decided to just postpone. So I'm glad that, a lot of you were able to hang out and, stick with us tonight. So hopefully we'll see you all next week. For those of you watching this as the recorded version, thanks for watching and joining us. Try to catch us live if you can, so you can participate in the chat. But again, give it a thumbs up if you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you get notified of when our lives are, so that you get reminded, because even Charlie forgets sometimes. So
sure.
Yeah, what's funny, Charlie? When you started the show tonight, I was watching in the car while I was driving. I had no light or anything, so it wasn't going to work for me to be on noise and whatnot. But you started out the show by saying, "Hey, thanks for joining our Thursday night live." I don't know if you
did. I really say Thursday night?
Yeah, once we post this, go back and watch it. It was pretty funny.
Wow.
I was gonna jump on and correct you, and I'm like, nah, it's all right, it's fine.
How did I say Thursday? That's weird.
I don't know. You said Thursday night, but I was chuckling in the car. So, but I appreciate you, kind of covering those first minutes there until I could get home and be in an environment that was conducive to this type of video format. But
Yeah, I think we did all right. I don't think any of our viewers were hurt by having me sit in
No.
the chair for a while.
I don't think so either. Other than maybe the Brewers comments, that was kind of unnecessary. But that's sort of cruel and unusual. But we'll let it go. You had the floor, so you can say what you wanted, I guess.
Right.
Mhm. All right. So also be sure to check out Charlie's channel, JC3 Cards and Collectibles, or is it just JC3 Collectibles? I'll get this right eventually.
Collectibles.
Cards and Collectibles. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
JC3 Cards and Collectibles. Give him a subscribe.
Because you never know when I'm going to have another Curious George Welch's Jelly Jam glass out there.
I mean, that's worth it right there, right? But yeah, I got a couple of videos I'll be putting out in the next few days, so look for those. And then hopefully we'll see you all next Wednesday. But in the meantime, keep listing and shipping and listing, and get that grind going, and you'll get to the level you want to be at, whatever that level may be.
Yep. It's all grind.
All right. Peace. Have a good evening.
So.